fans in the country.
Tougher than a tank, as Fox Sports Net presents a college football Saturday doubleheader. Next, the Aggies love that home cooking. Texas A&M has won 19 in a row at home. Must have something to do with that post-touchdown ritual, huh? They have the 6th best winning record in the 90s. This season, they have a big play receiver in touchdown Chris Taylor. The Cowboys come into Dodge, College Station, with some clout of their own, looking to lasso a win from those Texas fellas. Then,
humid day in College Station, Texas for the first home game of the season for the Texas A&M Aggies as they take on the Wyoming Cowboys. And the fans were in mid-season form last night. Over 30,000 were on hand right here at Kyle Field for the midnight yell practice, and that's one of the great Aggie traditions, and the fans are ready for the opening day. Hello again, everybody. Along with James Lofton, I'm Ron Thulin, and this year Texas A&M is going to try to do something that they had problems with last year, and that is being consistent on offense. And if they are able to do it, they'll do it with the most diversified offense in the R.C. Slocum era.
Because it has always been an offense that has been based on the ground game. They've been very proficient at that, but now they want to spice things up a little bit. You go out and you find a big play receiver like Robert Ferguson, and big really is the word. He's the linebacker size. Richard Whitaker is the dash out of the backfield, that small, big play back. And Mark Ferris is the quarterback. He calls the plays in the huddle, but the guy at the center of the attention is Seth McKinney. He calls every offensive blocking scheme at the line of scrimmage. You'll see him pointing to the left, pointing to the right. He's not trying to direct traffic. He's telling the linemen what to do.
Well, on the other side of the football, Wyoming lost starting tailback Al Rich because of a wrist injury. He may be lost for the year, and that really puts the onus on the offense to quarterback Jay Stoner.
And if you are a Cowboy, you like wide open spaces, and Jay Stoner is going to spread things out. 4 receivers, 5 receivers. He's going to try every imaginable formation to try and loosen up this Aggie defense, and I think he's going to have to reach into his bag of tricks to accomplish that today.
He has his hands full. The last time the Aggies went 0-2 to start the season was back in 1996. The last time Wyoming started 0-2 was back in 1991, both looking for their first win of the season. It is a great day for football here at College Station. The Wyoming Cowboys are set. The Aggies are set, and we have kickoff coming up straight ahead.
Welcome back to College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net.
Part of the core that's on hand as we welcome you back to Kyle Field is Texas A&M looking for their 12th straight home opening victory under R.C. Slocum. If they accomplish that, they'll have to do it without the services of starting free safety Michael Jamison. With more on that situation, the third member of our broadcast team, here's Eric Clemens.
Ron, the walk-on 12th man program, one of the nation's best here at Texas A&M. It'll play a role tonight. You mentioned Michael Jamison with that Achilles injury. A walk-on, Wes Bodovich, replaces him at starting free safety. Bodovich declared he'd win the starting quarterback job at camp. The coaches saw his athletic ability and decided to move him to the defensive backfield. He reminds many of another famous walk-on here, Rich Cody, who walked out of here and into a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams. Coach R.C. Slocum has to, because of injuries, trust his walk-on program and an inexperienced secondary tonight, guys.
All right, thank you very much. In his 12th year, R.C. Slocum, the winningest coach in Texas A&M history, will be 56 on November the 7th. And in his first year, 40-year-old Vic Koenig. He's 20 years younger than 6 of his 7 head coaching counterparts in the Mountain West Conference. And we are set for the kick. Cody skates. Kicking it away. At the goal line. Travis Short for Wyoming. Looking for some running room up over the 20 to the 24-yard line. And that is where Wyoming will get underway. 1st and 10 from their own 20. And let's take a look at the Wyoming offense. They are looking for more consistency. They have it in Jay Stoner, despite this being his 4th offensive scheme in as many years. The line of Kellerman, Dirks, Irvin, and Hutchinson, Goldberg, they have to stand up to the A&M rush. And the running backs and wide receivers lost all the starting wide receivers last year. Brock Ralph, the most experienced, and Derek Armah will be the starting tailback. They've got 4 wide receivers to start the game. An empty backfield. Stoner quickly rolling to his left. Pass is complete up to the 28-yard line to Brock Ralph. As we take a look at the Texas A&M defense, better known as the Wrecking Crew, and the injuries have made depth a question mark, especially on the line. Peroni, Edwards, and Flemings up front. They'll play 5 DLs. Playmakers on defense, 3 seniors, including Jason Glenn, and a very inexperienced secondary, 4 redshirt freshmen in the 2 deep. We expect them to be tested a lot this evening. Stoner, the senior out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. 1 for 1. That was a pickup of 4 on the play. They keep it on the ground, straight ahead. Not much running room. May have picked up a yard on the play. You know, interesting, Wyoming won the coin flip, James Lofton. They deferred. Texas A&M turned the tables on them and said, well, that's okay because we're kicking.
And, you know, everybody wants to defer now. I think that's kind of like buying a holiday gift. You wait until the last minute. But Texas A&M throws out what they think is their strongest part of their team, their defense, and they want to shut them down and do a 3-and-out right here.
Derek Armand, now the lone setback. 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Stoner changing his plays. Matt Swanson, the former quarterback, is in the slot. They're looking for him on the flare, but they go to the left. Armand makes his way up to about the 35-yard line. That'll be close to a first down. Armand, the 5'10 freshman out of Lawnside, New Jersey. Roy Lynn Bradley of Lamar, Texas, was in pursuit on this play.
And Bradley is lined up at defensive end this game, not at linebacker. He's part of the pass rush that they're trying to put on Stoner. You see him get locked out there in the pass protection by number 79, Rob Kellerman. He is a very good left tackle.
Yeah, we've seen 4 plays in 4 different offensive formations for Wyoming. They'll keep it on the ground to Armand. Right side, bounces outside, crosses the 40, up to about the 43-yard line. Maybe a pickup of about 6 on the play. You know, we talk about the offense here of Wyoming. They had the crazy triple shoot offense last year. It was very unsuccessful. This offense is more like former coach Joe Tiller's type of offense that Vic Koenig decided to go with.
And you talk to Jay Stoner. He says the funny thing, I've had 4 different offenses. Well, by the time I get ready to graduate, at least I'll be a good coach.
Well, this is the first time he's had a quarterbacks coach since about 1997, as Rusty Burns, the offensive coordinator, is working with him. This time it is Nate Scott, breaks away, and he is tripped up after he crosses the 45, and that is where they're going to mark it. Scott, the redshirt junior out of Weed, California.
And Nate Scott adds speed to this offense. He was 1 ankle tackle away from going the whole way. They get nice blocking on the right side. They're going to go just outside the tight end. They've overloaded that side. Texas A&M doesn't adjust. And there you see the ankle tackle right at the end. He's thinking end zone right there.
Pickup of 13 on the play. Wyoming came in wanting tempo in this game offensively. They've got it so far. The fake, Stoner looking into the flat. The pass is complete. Down to about the 33-yard line is Ryan McGuffey, the redshirt freshman out of Riverton, Wyoming. They're saying McGuffey will be their go-to guy this year.
You know, the great thing for Wyoming is they are playing people out of position. Here are the linebackers. They're lined up at defensive end. You have new people here in the secondary. Everybody's trying to do something different. You see the guy peeking in the backfield. He gets caught out of position. Nice, easy throw for Stoner. They have done a great job in this first series Rusty Burns has in mixing it up and keeping Texas A&M off balance.
And another first down. The stadium clock is not working, but the game clock, we've got it on the field, is. Here is Scott again. Left side, and they are going right side, left side, right side, left side. I think this is pretty good consistency as far as their offense is concerned. They're mixing things up, though.
And when we talked to Rusty Burns, he said our left tackle, Rob Kellerman, and our right tackle, Adam Goldberg, those are the guys, and that's Rusty Burns right there in the middle of your screen. Those are our best blockers, and what they've done is they've run on the edges. And by Texas A&M putting their linebackers at defensive end, they put smaller guys where they normally have bigger guys, and the advantage is now to Wyoming. And
they're rotating that A-back, what they call it, basically a tailback. Now Armand back in on 2nd and 3. Stoner, 3-step drop, looks in the flat. Close to the first down, but immediately putting the big hurt on him was Jay Brooks, the 5'9 junior out of Killeen, Texas.
Yeah, but when a guy puts the hurt on you, it only hurts if you drop the pass. And that time,
good point.
Ryan McGuffey does a good job holding on to it. He's very close to the first down. Now it's going to be power against power, and you would think that the team with the most power would be Texas A&M. See a couple of defensive backs coming off the field. They're sending out the big beef in there. And I think that they're a little bigger up front. This would be a huge win if they can convert this. But look at this formation out here. 3 wide receivers on the outside and a short yardage play.
9th play of the drive. Armand's in the backfield. Penalty flag is thrown. Armand crosses the 25 down to about the 23-yard line. Roy Lynn Bradley again on the stop. Bradley, one of the most intense players on this defense. Offside call against A&M.
And when that's thrown that early, it means someone is lined up offsides.
Offside on the defense. First down.
Terry Turlington, our referee today. We'll be hearing a lot from Mr. Turlington, a Big 12 crew on hand. Some of the best in the country. R.C. Slocum, the winningest coach in Texas A&M history. He knew he had his hands full today. He said this is a scrappy Wyoming team, and they're going to have to give it everything they can, despite the fact Wyoming lost big last week to Auburn.
Spread them out. You only have 6 guys up in the box. That's a place where you can run now.
How about that formation? It's an I formation with the wide receivers on the near side of the field. Keep it on the ground, straight ahead, Arma again. Are you surprised that Wyoming is running the ball as well as they are right now? Because last week against Wyoming, they had less than 30 yards rushing.
Well, what's happened is over those tackles, the right and left tackle, you have now lined up linebackers who weigh 230 pounds. You've taken out your defensive ends, and this is a team that was already depleted along the defensive front. So they've gone from guys who weigh 280 pounds, now guys who weigh 230. They're giving away 50 pounds a man. And you don't even get that in boxing. You don't even get that in sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
Guys who are about the same size.
How about this is the first time Wyoming has been in the red zone this year. Nate Scott, the lone setback. 4 wide receivers, Stoner. And he is going to be dropped back at the 24-yard line. The 3rd sack of the year for Texas A&M, the first of the afternoon.
And Fleming's got him. Fleming's came right in the middle. He's lined up. He's moved from that defensive end. He's now over a guard, and that's actually a coverage sack because you're going to see Stoner. He has his eyes to the left. He goes back. He plants. The ball should be out. You get a hand up. You'd rather secure the ball here than throw it away and throw it into coverage. So actually a good play by Stoner.
Loss of 4 on the play. 3rd down and 14. Ball at about the 24-yard line. Again, Stoner audibilizing. Little play action looking to set up the screen, and it's not going to be able to be grabbed by Nate Scott. Stoner really took a lick again as that A&M defense just came crashing in.
No, Jay Brooks came. He was covered over a wide receiver in the slot. He came on the blitz, but a nice job by Jason Glenn, number 23, part of the pass rush, and then getting back to detect the screen.
And Aaron Elling will come in for Wyoming, and he is going to be attempting a 40-yard field goal, planting it right at the 30. You can see what he did last season, 11 of 21. But he hit just 3 of 12 between 30 and 49 yards last year. High snap, ball's down, kick out of the way, and that should split the uprights. Well, Wyoming had a very impressive drive. They stalled, but they're able to get something out of it. Elling with the 40-yard field goal. And with 9:21 left to play in the first, the Cowboys lead the Aggies 3-0. Football on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Isn't it time for a real car? Yeah, the George Bush Library right here on the campus of Texas A&M University, and just about a half a mile away. The Core already leading the cheers as Wyoming has taken a 3-0 lead along with Eric Clemens and James Lofton. I'm Ron Thulin. Glad you're with us here on a quadruple header of football here on Fox Sports Net. Aaron Elling set to kick it away. Out of 60 kickoffs last year, 4 were touchbacks. Onside kick. Aggies were not in a position. I think Wyoming may have it.
Nope. I think Wyoming touched it early. One of their guys bumped into the ball. I talked to Vic Koenig before the ball game. He said, we're going to pull out all the stops. You see how frustrated he is. Thought he had that. That ball was just dribbling a little too slowly. They had the guys backing away. When the kicker approached, they had it, but the ball just didn't travel fast enough.
10 yards.
Well, it's a break for Texas A&M offense, but you'd have to think that it was almost a huge break for Wyoming. Here it is again. A lot of moving around right before the kickoff. That's the
guy you clue on. When he takes off to go backwards, you think you have it. There in the middle of the screen, number 3 just runs right into the football.
Well, instead, Texas A&M will take over. Great field position. 1st and 10 from the Wyoming 44-yard line. Whitaker in the backfield. Goings in motion. Ferris looking for his first pass. Plenty of time. Pass is complete. Chris Taylor with a big gainer inside the 25 down to the 23-yard line. The A&M offense, it's the Riflemen leading the charge. 25-year-old Mark Ferris, last time he started a football game in Texas, 1993. Big front five, McCauley, Valletta, McKinney, Whitley, and Mahan. Running back and wide receivers, a solid receiving core. We already saw Chris Taylor. Look for fullback Jamar Toombs to be lined up all over the place this afternoon. Pickup of 22 on the play. TD Chris Taylor, the senior out of Madisonville, Texas. I formation with Whitaker and Toombs. Ferris again looking incomplete, intended again for Taylor. Sidney Lewis, the 5'10 junior, on the coverage. And the Wyoming defense, they should be the strength of this team. The defensive line, not very big. Defensive tackle Damon Rourke will be the key to the front success. Solid group at the linebacker position. Look for Leo Kairos to be their emotional leader. Secondary, no proven players. 3 played junior college ball last year. Eric Lee is their best cover man. They will be tested today. This time it is Whitaker, right side, gets a block, Pater straight ahead, touchdown A&M.
You don't think of a guy who's listed at 5'9", 5'10", 190 pounds as being strong, but Richard Whitaker is a redshirt freshman. You know what they do that redshirt year? They lock them in the weight room, and you can see that stiff arm just knock the defender to the ground.
3 plays for Texas A&M. Whitaker with his second rushing touchdown of the year and of his career, the redshirt freshman out of Jacksonville, Texas. Kitchens for the extra point. And it is good. Whitaker with the touchdown, Kitchens with the extra point, and the Aggies are on the board at home. In the first quarter, Texas A&M leads 7-3. Only took R.C. Slocum's offense 35 seconds, 3 plays, 44 yards. Whitaker on a 23-yard run, and that is why Texas A&M leads 7-3. The punter Cody Skates with a kickoff, and it is short. Dustin Ralph, he is going to be stood up at the 18, leans forward to the 20-yard line. And that is where the Wyoming offense will get underway. We have a penalty flag thrown right at about the 37-yard line. Terry Turlington talk it over, and he'll give us the word.
No, they don't have a call for this, but it's extracurricular activity away from the place. Guys are a little excited about being on special teams.
Yeah, we got a little hold against Wyoming. Let's go back to that touchdown. Great blocking by that A&M right side.
But it is little details. If you're running back, you want to carry the ball away from the defender. If you do that, that allows you to put a nice stiff arm on him. Here's the ball, there's the stiff arm, and you head into the end zone. And that makes the running back coach, Pete Honer, a very, very happy coach.
Oh, you saw a great block by Jamar Toombs, big number 5, the fullback that played a little tailback, played fullback, and Toombs said he's not afraid to do a little blocking for the redshirt freshman. So Wyoming now is backed up. And in case you see that miss there, that's water from the fans trying to keep them cool. Game time temperature, high 90s again. Stoner pressures on, pass is complete up to about the 13-yard line, maybe a pickup of 3 on the play. Ryan McGuffey, again, the redshirt freshman. This is a young man they are very, very high on. Spent the summer in Laramie as Stoner took another hit.
And there are some quarterbacks who are good when they're sitting in the pocket and everything is nice and comfortable. There's Stoner just getting leveled by number 96 and number 94, Ty Warren. They do the 1-2 punch on him.
You know, you and I were talking yesterday after watching Wyoming work out. You like this guy. You think Stoner's a tough cookie that may have a future in the NFL.
And you saw the toughness on that last play.
Pickup of 3 on the play, 2nd and 7, 3 wide receivers to the right. They keep it on the ground again with Derek Armah.
You know, as much as you practice the new defensive set where you put the linebackers over the tackles, you move your ends inside, you have Ron Edwards, Ronaldo Flemings, and Ty Warren kind of playing at defensive tackle positions over the guards. You do it in practice and you do it against the fourth-string guys. You come out in that first drive, you're doing it against somebody else, and they're better than your fourth-stringers. Now it's the adjustment time. Now is the time when A&M, they caught their breath. Now they have them where they want in 3rd and 5.
Barely get the handoff on to Nate Scott. Right side, first down and a couple to spare. He's going to be pushed out at about the 29-yard line. Terrence Keel comes up to make the stop, the sophomore out of Lufkin, Texas.
We talked about Nate Scott. He has 4.5 speed. 4.5 speed doesn't mean a lot if you're not patient enough to set up your blocks. He lets Ralph, number 80, block on the outside for him, and he sets everything up and he gets to the outside. Uses that speed right at the end, not at the beginning. You don't just come out and run like a crazy man. You have to read your blockers.
Scott had a lot of preseason hype as he came into Wyoming as a redshirt junior. He needs to live up to the hype, but they really think that this young man could be a difference maker in the Wyoming offense. 1st and 10, ball on the 29-yard line. Not much running room, and of course the Cowboy has got to be here. He's a little outnumbered today by the corps.
Well, you know, if he had on maroon, he could pass as being an Aggie Cowboy, but when it goes into that brown, and you know, it's a new color, new uniform for these guys. That. Wyoming Prairie Gold. That's their new color. It used to be brown and yellow, but it's now Wyoming Prairie Gold, which is very attractive.
I grew up in Pittsburgh. It's yellow. Sorry. Well, they only picked up one on the play. Sets up that 2nd down and 9 from the shotgun. Stoner rolls. Look into the flat, overthrown. Pass intended to Brock Ralph, number 80. Ralph, you might remember, took quite a shot in last week's game against Auburn. They about took this young man's head off.
Well, I talked to Ralph about it before. And he's from Alberta, Canada, played 12-man football up there. He said he got in the huddle. After that happened, he counted only 10 other guys. He wondered where the 12th man was. Well, he was going to meet the 12th man today, but he said, I was a little dizzy for about 4 or 5 plays, but I wasn't going to give the defensive man the satisfaction of knocking me out the ballgame. A tough cookie. As
a receiver, you never let them know they hurt you, right?
Well, until you start crying.
3rd down, we'll call it 9. Stoner doesn't like what he sees, and he is going to burn a timeout. That is a very smart play by the senior. So with 6:28 left to play in the first quarter, Wyoming is going to talk things over, trailing 7-3. A&M looking for their 20th consecutive win at home right now in the first quarter. They lead Wyoming 7-3. Wyoming facing 3rd and 9 from their own 30-yard line. Stoner straight drop, feels a little pressure, tucks it under, and he is going to be hit hard from behind. Falls forward up to the 32-yard line. Ronald Fleming's coming in from that defensive end spot. He's the one who licked the first hit on him.
Now, sometimes you get to the quarterback because you get quick pressure. Time you had excellent coverage down the field. And Stoner, to his credit, doesn't throw the ball away. He actually gains a couple of yards by trying to run up the middle.
Tom Waring, the punter. He was an active man last week with 9 punts. Taylor and Mickey Jones back for Texas A&M. Almost blocked. Kick goes to the left. Taylor from his 24-yard line. Shaking and baking, still on his feet. Up to about the 36-yard line. And that's where Texas A&M will take over. I think last week was a very special moment for Mark Ferris, the 25-year-old former Pittsburgh Pirate, played the minor league system, and he had a very steady day, and I think what impressed all of us watching it, he had a great deal of poise versus Notre Dame.
He really did, and you talk about somebody who's pretty athletic. Look at his numbers: 16 completions, 28 attempts, 165 yards. Not big in the yardage category, but I think viewers saw today, if anybody glimpsed Notre Dame play against Nebraska, that's a pretty tough Irish defense that he went up against last week.
And when Gary Kubiak, former coach here now with the Denver Broncos, is here at A&M, he liked Ferris when they were recruiting him out of high school because of his quick release and field vision. We saw all that last week. Quick pass, Ferris swings it out, left side, pass is complete. Up to Robert Ferguson, the junior transfer out of Houston, Texas, Tyler Community College. I like this. He is home to the 10 NFL starting quarterbacks.
You know, there are a lot of young quarterbacks in the league. Dante Culpepper, Sean King, Cade McNown, and Peyton Manning. You know, and he came out with all those guys dreaming about it, but he said, no, I think I'm going to go play baseball for a while. And I talked to him before the game when he was warming up. So I thought I had a baseball career, but in the back of my mind, football was always in my system.
You never forget it. 2nd down and 11, especially if you grew up in Texas. Little shuttle pass to Toombs. To the yells of Toombs from the crowd, and he inches forward. Should be very close to a 1st down. Toombs, the junior out of Kilgore, Texas. Young man that his freshman year here at A&M showed everybody how special he can be, but since then it's been kind of a bumpy road for him.
It really has, but you know, he's a guy who there are a lot of restrictions on him now. He's on a 10 o'clock curfew, but he says he's kind of straightening his life out. You talk to some of the other players on the team, he's a different guy than he was a year or two ago. Didn't put up big numbers in the first game, but he's moved to fullback now and is dedicated to that position.
Well, just about a half a yard short from the 1st down, 3rd down and 1. Straight ahead, Wyoming attacking on defense.
And as soon as we say he's dedicated to fullback, they move him to tailback. And on the outside, number 1, Sidney Lewis, thought that he was a little flyweight boxer and took a swing at Robert Ferguson right at the tail end of the play. That's 150-pound Sidney Lewis going against 215-pound Robert Ferguson. And
I think Sidney's still upset from last week from being dragged by one of the Auburn wide receivers.
But, you know, when you're small, and he's always been told he's too small to play football, he's feisty, and I think he might have poked Ferguson in the eye there.
Well, the coach is telling us last night that Lewis is a feisty little player. Too bad, because that was a nice defensive stand by the Cowboys.
Okay. Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, automatic 1st down.
We are in College Station, Texas, Kyle Field, as the Aggies looking for their 25th straight non-conference victory. They're taking on the Wyoming Cowboys along with James Lofton and our field man himself, Eric Clemens, the coolest man in the stadium. I'm Ron Thulin. Glad you're with us this beautiful Saturday evening. It is hot, but at least we have a little breeze tonight. They were expecting rain early on today, but the skies have kind of cleared up. And Mark Ferris continues to lead the Aggies. Great athletic experience for this young man, and he's showing it again tonight. 1st and 10, ball on the 39-yard line of the Cowboys. Ferris takes the option, not much running room. Didn't have much success last week against Notre Dame running the football. 4 rushes, minus 15 yards, some of that because of sacks.
I'm not sure if that's the strength of his game, running the football, but he's good enough to run the option. We saw the pitch earlier where he got the ball to Whitaker. That time they actually committed to him, but I think he thought he could just fake him out a little bit, get some time down the line of scrimmage, but you have that pursuit coming after you. Sometimes guys run better to their right than they do their left. Running right is actually a natural action for a right-handed person.
Well, we were expecting to see 5 or 6 different looks from Texas A&M offense the first 10 to 15 plays. I think we've done it. Ferris just slips on this Texas, which would make a beautiful fairway on most golf courses. Highly maintained. Grass actually grown here in Texas.
You know, Ferris wears kind of a soccer shoe. It's not the typical molded bottom. That soccer shoe is actually what wide receivers like to wear because it makes you feel fast, but it has small cleats in the bottom. It doesn't have real long cleats. And for a quarterback, you need that on that plant foot.
3rd down and 17, closing in on 2.5 to play here in quarter number 1. Ferris will go from the shotgun. He has a lot of weapons with 3 wide receivers. Pass over the middle, complete. Chris Taylor again, another big play inside the 20 down to about the 19-yard line. 28 yards on the pickup for Taylor.
Now, I'm pretty sure when Ferris was in the minor league system, he had to stand in there for those inside fastballs. Well, here he's getting an inside fastball from Adrian Hill. He stands in there. He takes the punishment. He delivers maybe not a home run, but this is a nice double. Nice strike down the field. Chris Taylor on the money over the middle.
Can we use like baseball analogies the whole game?
That's the only one I got.
Oh, okay. Trying the right side. Ball is popped out. Wyoming has it at the 29-yard line. Eric Lee, the junior out of Wiggins, Mississippi, comes up with a loose pigskin. How about they forced 29 last year? That was most in the Mountain West Conference.
And that was helmet on football. When plastic meets pigskin, pigskin loses. Nice tackle in there by Lamar James, number 9, the strong safety. He looks like a quarterback, but he hits big. He's a big hitter, only 190 pounds. Got his ball right. RC's a defensive guy. He would like that if it was his own team, but that's frustrating because that's just not good ball security by your running back.
First fumble A&M has lost this year. They had one last week against Notre Dame, but they recovered it. Stoner's pass dropped, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Colby Drube, the tight end. Well, the NFL this morning returns tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on Fox Sports Net. Chris Myers, Jackie Slater, Marv Levy, and Chris Spielman deliver the latest news, injuries, and weather as they close in on kickoff. Of course, the experts will be there. John Madden, Matt Millen, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Chris Collinsworth. NFL this morning, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, right here on Fox Sports Net.
Did I just hear you call Bradshaw an expert?
He's a Steeler. I'll never bag it. Second down and 10. Stoner rolling out. Pass is complete to number 31, Marcus Ford, the fullback. His first reception of the year, but he is hit after a pickup of about 3.
And we saw a big hit by Lamar James, number 9, the strong safety. That time, Terrence Keel, his counterpart for the Aggies, plays that very well. Sometimes guys get faked out. They're looking in the backfield too much. You can tell when it's a bootleg. You can tell by the quarterback, his action, and you know it's going to come back to your side. He played that, stayed at home, and makes the tackle for a minimal gain.
Third down and 6.
Got somebody coming right there.
Stoner runs the option, the pitch back. Armah short of the first down. He is stood up about 2 yards short. That is great open field tackling by Wes Bodovich, who Eric Clemens talked about at the top of the show, the junior out of Kennedale, Texas. And he is a walk-on. Let's listen in.
And we must have Vic Koenig mic'd, right? One of these weeks we're going to get to mic a coach. That's right in front of Vic Koenig. He's a former inside linebacker. He likes that hitting. He likes that type of action.
Former defensive coach at Wyoming, and Wyoming is not going to even attempt it at fourth down and 1. Tom Waring in to kick it away, his second punt of the evening.
They line their punter up, sorry, Ron, closer than anyone. He's only at 11 yards. Normally it's 15. The bag of tricks is here. Had a motion man.
Nice high spiral. It will be Taylor at the 15. Running room. Cuts back, still on his feet. Look out. He's got a blocker inside the 50 down to the 47-yard line for Taylor. 38 yards on the return. Reveille, how about a little bark? Woo!
I think all you had to do was say, speak, Reveille.
That's Reveille 6. Foaming at the mouth there. Let's watch Chris Taylor, an explosive man playing with bruised ribs.
Well, if he runs like this and he makes guys miss, he's not going to get hit in the ribs very often.
So the Aggies will have it first and 10 from the Wyoming 47-yard line. Leading 7-3. Final seconds of the opening quarter here at Kyle Field. And not a sellout today, but a good crowd on hand, upwards of 70,000. Ferris has 2 wide receivers stacked to the left. 1 wide right. Fake the reverse like they did against Notre Dame last week. Joe Weber, the sophomore out of San Bernardino, California, with his carry. And that should do it for quarter number 1. Tyler Gottschalk, the freshman out of Hayes, Kansas, on the stop. A man they just picked up in May. Didn't even know anything about him. And all of a sudden, he's a Cowboy. That ends the first quarter. Texas A&M took 35 seconds to score on their first possession, and that is why they lead 7-3 after 1. 11, 3-step drop into the flat. Pass is complete. Back to about the original line of scrimmage. Robert Ferguson again. 5 catches last week for Ferguson, and he impressed everybody. And Steve Craigthorpe, the offensive coordinator, very impressed with him, thinking this guy has an NFL kind of style out there. Do you agree?
I think he does. He has that physical body. He has a presence. You saw a nice catch. He adjusted to the ball. Not a big gain there. Ferris just a little off on that ball. You want to get your receiver the ball so that he can turn upfield and run. Not that he has to dive for a little 5-yard pass.
3rd down and 10. A&M 41% last week against Notre Dame. Here come the bodies. Ferris going deep and overthrows his intended receiver. Was looking for Bethel Johnson, the junior out of Corsicana. Now we saw Sidney Lewis with that bad penalty early on. Eric, how about an update on him?
Well, Sidney Lewis standing by himself on the bench to contemplate it for the University of Wyoming. Before his altercation with Ferguson, he had an altercation with Taylor on the play before, so he's been told to sit over here and think about it a little bit. But at least one Wyoming Cowboy not afraid to come into Kyle Field and play the heavily favored A&M Aggies, guys.
Can't help your team sitting on the bench, though. The punt by Cody Skates, a good one. And it hit Wyoming at the 5. This should be A&M's football. And it is! Well, it looks like it hit Eric Lee of Wyoming. And coming up with the football, DeJuan Gentry, a reserve defensive back. Boy, that is a brain cramp.
Yeah, it actually hits number 39. And you see McGuffey going poison, poison, poison. Get away from it. You're supposed to run the opposite directions, never toward the middle of the field. Just a mental error. You will get beat mentally before you will physically. I tell you that time and time again. Wait until we play golf and I beat you up mentally.
Boy, and your margin of error is slim when you come into Kyle Field. You can't be making mistakes like that. In the I formation. Toombs straight ahead. Touchdown, Texas A&M. One touchdown drive, 35 seconds. This about 5, James.
And R.C. Slocum said he is our 4th quarter hammer. Well, here it is, the 2nd quarter. You see him hammering on people until he nails the job shut in the end zone.
Oh, he stood Adrian Hill up, the linebacker. Toombs with his first touchdown of the 2000 season. Kitchens for the extra point. And he hooks it through the uprights. Jamar Toombs, a 265-pound fullback with running back feet, takes it in, and the Aggies lead 14-3. Teams met in the Nebraska game against Notre Dame today. Nebraska giving up a kickoff return and a punt return. Special teams, a positive side for him as he gets the touchdown. There's the 12th man today.
He got a special jersey, too. He even has 12th man on his sleeve.
The driving kick, Terrence Kitchens kicking it off. That'll be a touchback. Dustin Ralph has to take the knee, no place to go.
The 12th man, this just isn't ceremonial. They just don't go out in the parking lot and find some guy who wants to run down and cover kicks. And, you know, he's a marked man. Look at the Cowboys. One Cowboy hits him, 2 Cowboys, and there's a 3rd Cowboy lined up to go get him. Scott Stickname from Trophy Club. That's up near Dallas, and there's a great golf course up there that we should play sometime, but he loves it. You can see the big smile on his face and all lathered up and ready to go again.
Wyoming 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, trailing 14-3. They need something good to happen quickly. Stoner pressures on, hit as he releases it, pass is incomplete. Now for a Dr. Pepper game break, let's send it to our College Football Saturday studio with Kevin Frazier.
Vote might have come with someone from the great state of Alabama. I think they have a little hangover from that victory last week.
2nd down and 10. 3 wide receiver set again to the left. Stoner keeps it on the ground, and Nate Scott slips 1 tackle, and boy, he takes a hit. Lower in the boom was Terrence Keel, the sophomore out of Lufkin, Texas, from his strong safety spot. Also in on the tackle, Jared Morris, the redshirt freshman out of Brownwood, Texas. You know, one thing the coaches yesterday were telling us about how they were very concerned about this defense because when they go to their nickel and dime packages, this is a very, very young team.
Well, and that inexperience is what our coach even said he would go after. Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, he said, I'd go after my own secondary if I'm the offensive coordinator for another team because that's where I don't have the people who've played a lot of snaps.
Now Wyoming will burn their 2nd time out here in the opening half with 13:45 to play. Stoner facing a 3rd down and about 6 to go. He's going to talk it over with Rusty Burns, the offensive coordinator. We'll step aside. Aggies have the advantage. 3rd down and 6 as the clouds start to come in here at College Station. The secondary playing very deep for A&M. Here comes the rush. Stoner gets away. Still on his feet. Dumps it off. Passes complete to the 40. But what a hit put on again by Terrence Keel. A little bit too late because Derek Armah got the first down.
You can talk about mobility, agility, but you can buy time in the pocket. You can move around, give people time to get exposed down the field, get open, and listen to it. Ooh, right in the kisser.
I'll tell you, how about Keel last year? He knocked out 2 guys in the Missouri game, and he won this starting strong safety spot because of his big hits. I'm not going to doubt the kid.
When he was a kid, they nicknamed him Tank because his head was big.
We keep talking about him. His head's going to get bigger. Derek Armah on the carry. Not much there as the wrecking crew right on top to meet. And, you know, when you talk about this defensive line, obviously they have been racked by injuries. Rocky Bernard blowing out a knee. He was a 3-year starter. Terry Nichols was tragically killed in a car accident in El Paso, Texas. In fact, Jason Glenn has dedicated the season to Nichols. But they are very thin on the defensive line. And when you have a running team, they may have some problems later on down the road. 2nd down and 10 for the Cowboys. Stoner from the shotgun. Pass is almost picked off, but it is complete. What a catch at the 45-yard line by Malcolm Floyd, the freshman out of Sacramento. Now, Royland Bradley means an awful lot to this wrecking crew defense, the senior out of Lamar, Texas.
Yeah, but he's a linebacker who's now trying to play defensive end. I talked about being mismatched by about 50 pounds. And you know, this will wear on this guy. They're going to need to spell him during the course of the ball game because he's getting hit by bigger people than he's accustomed to, and he's still having to run all over the field to chase the football down.
Well, he's going to be chasing now because it's 3rd and 5. Inside of 12 minutes here in the second. Penalty flags are thrown. We got people dancing all over the place.
And Mike Irvin, number 64, said, "I'm not snapping it until I'm ready."
How about a center, Mike Irvin, number 64, being recruited by Yale? You know, offensive linemen are smart guys. I keep telling Dave Lapham, one of our broadcasters.
Ball start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
You know, you talk about offensive linemen. You know, Nebraska's got these guys that are 3.5 GPAs and all this. Here, Mike Irvin, the center for Wyoming, he's recruited by Yale. That proves my point. You agree?
He could have been an Ivy League guy if he had wanted to.
If he wanted to. 3rd down and 10 and another penalty flag.
You're going to get illegal substitution. That illegal participation. They had 12 guys in the huddle. Probably was Brock Ralph again, the Canadian. So it was supposed to be 12 out here.
Well, Terry, tell us what's going on the field.
Illegal substitution on the offense. Broke the huddle with more than 11 men. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, instead of 3rd down and 6, we're going to be pushed back 3rd down and almost 16. Vic Koenig knows that the little things like that are what really kill your offense.
And they kill your defense because it puts them into a position when they have to go back out there.
You can see 4 penalties already. They had 5 in the entire game versus Auburn. Stoner, straight drop, pressure's on, pass wide open, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Brock Ralph. Pass maybe thrown a little behind him, James, but that was a catchable ball.
Yeah, it was a catchable ball, but when you're on the move, the quarterback has to be on the move also. You have to come to a standstill because he's trying to avoid the pressure, get away from guys. That time, all Brock Ralph had to do was sit down. He was in an open area. He continued to drift, and they couldn't hook up.
Now they're going to have to kick it away again. Tom Waring, the punter. Standing back, Chris Taylor at his own 29-yard line has already had 1 big return tonight. The punt almost blocked. The punter is down, no penalty flag. Taylor fakes it and lets it go. You mentioned how Wyoming's punters stand so far up. A&M has been close on 2 occasions, but Waring was able to get it up with a 41-yarder. Well, we've had a big day here on Fox Sports Net. For an update on what you've seen so far, here's Eric Clemens.
All right, guys, and let's see what you've seen so far. College football Saturday on Fox Sports Net. Boston College easy over Army with a 28-point third quarter. And look at this. The Bearcats of Cincinnati with an upset over Syracuse. A last-second 47-yard field goal does it. How about that football in Cincinnati, huh, guys?
Boy, Cincinnati's pretty impressive. Last year, they upset the Wisconsin Badgers, the only blemish on the Badgers' record last year.
And Rick Minner has done a nice job. It's been some hard times at Cincinnati, but he's come back this year. Not a bad start. Aggies take over, 1st and 10. Ferris play action. Look out. He gets
got him.
Wide open. Passes complete to Robert Ferguson. 36 yards on the reception for the JUCO transfer.
And the toughest thing there for Ferris is carrying out that play action fake, because he snuck a peek. He saw his guy wide open, and then he's getting pressured, and he just hopes that this ball can get there. A nice fingertip catch by Robert Ferguson. We talked about his linebacker size. That time he had those piano players' fingers.
Now from the I formation. 1st down and 10 on the Wyoming 41-yard line. They'll try the left side with Richard Whitaker. The way this system is now set up, we've talked about how diversified this offense is. Does this allow Ferris to be almost like a card dealer on offense?
You know, I think so, and that really is his job, to get the ball into the hands of the talented people. But I think more so when you look at Texas A&M, you look at trying to win in today's Big 12 conference, you really do have to be able to throw the football. Nebraska, as great as they are, it is always a question mark. Can they throw the football effectively?
Well, 61% of A&M's offense last year came through the air. Ferris rolling out. Pass. Caught. Drop. Penalty flag is thrown at the 40. Up to the 30-yard line. The pass is good. Greg Porter, the baseball-playing wide receiver, also plays for the Aggie baseball team, the sophomore out of Keller, Texas. And they're going to talk this thing over. Coming back.
See him winding up like he's on a bicycle. That means you have an illegal formation or illegal position.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Repeat 2nd down.
You Stanford guys are sharp.
No, I read the officiating manual. That's what I do at night. Late at night.
You need a life.
Back to my room.
Mark Ferris hit about 273, 283. His final year in AA ball, was sitting in a hotel in Raleigh-Durham. Turned down the A&M game after a long bus trip and said, boy, I want to play football again. He's going to call a timeout.
Got 10 men on the field for A&M. Not the 12th man, just 10 men.
And that's not Canadian football. But how is it for Mark Ferris? I mean, he's got a 5-year-old, started kindergarten, and now he's kind of the grandfather of the team, isn't he?
Hey, he's the grandfather of the league.
We still have another football game coming your way on Fox Sports Net.
He played tight end a long time ago. There you look at Ferris's numbers at 273 average. 273, if you're in the major leagues, that's about $5 million a year.
No, really. You know, playing baseball really helped him because it keeps this young man on an even keel. You know, he says one night I'll go 4 for 4, the next night 0 for 4, but it taught him he's got to come back after adversity.
Yeah, we talked about his first start being last week up in South Bend. Well, he played 500 baseball games while he was in the minor leagues.
Well, R.C. Slocum should send Florida State quarterback Chris Wenke a thank you card because that's one of the reasons Ferris is playing. Taylor in motion. Ferris dropping back, throws it out of the flat, pass is complete. The 41-yard line of Greg Porter, the former 3rd-round draft pick of the Cincinnati Reds. So A&M's offense has also quite a good baseball team, I think.
Now, Porter's listed as a wide receiver, but you can tell just by looking at his body, he's got more tight end size. He took a wicked shot in the ribs there, bounced off a guy and kept going, and the officials were actually blowing the whistle before he was knocked down. They said, this guy's had enough punishment. It's almost like a boxer getting knocked down on his feet, but Porter's a tough cookie.
3rd down and 9. Inside of 9:45 to play here in the first half. James Lofton, Eric Clemens, Ron Poulin with you. Ferris from the shotgun, lets it fly, pass is overthrown, intended for Ferguson. but the pressure was on, and even Ferris took a seat, and I think that is probably what Wyoming needs to do. They're not a big front. They're doing a lot of stemming, but they need to force Ferris to make decisions.
And you can see Ferris in the pocket and Ferguson on the route. Ferris gets pressured. The ball is just a little high. Ferguson is thinking, well, if I'm 6'8", Harold Carmichael, the former Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver, maybe, just maybe I can get that one.
And they're going to have to kick it away. High snap. Almost caught at the goal line. It'll go into the end zone, and Wyoming will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. When we return, we'll send you back to Kevin Frazier at our College Football Saturday studio with a preview of our Nissan halftime reports.
He probably graduated from UCLA, though.
Now Wyoming trailing 14-3. 1st and 10 from their own 20. Stoner, a lot of time in the pocket, scrambling, still has time. Pass is complete up to the 28-yard line, Brock Ralph. The man had only 8 receptions in 1999. Jay Stoner knows that that has to be one of his go-to guys. Stoner, a 4-year starter. The Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Year last year. Second down, we'll call it 1. From the I formation, Arma fighting his way, looking for the 30-yard line. Reaches over at the last minute. Let's see where the officials are going to make the stop. Cornelius Anthony, the senior out of Missouri City, Texas, on the stop.
One of the smartest things you can do as a defensive coordinator is rotate your guys, and number 90 is not a starter. He's a fresh body. You can see those legs, that explosion off the line of scrimmage. Stephen Young, he's been over there drinking Gatorade. He was ready to go and get after someone.
Well, he is short, so we're going to call it 3rd and maybe about 8-10 inches. Stoner again audibleizing. Scott is in the backfield. Straight ahead, 1st down for Jay Stoner. Had 6 rushes last week versus Wyoming for minus 38 yards. Most of that quarterback sacks.
And you were talking earlier about Jay Stoner. He was recruited here and coached early by Joe Tiller, who is now at Purdue with Drew Brees. And he says, you know, if Tiller had stayed, maybe I'd be the guy up for the Heisman Trophy.
Good point. One thing Vic Koenig did when he became head coach of his football team is he took Stoner aside and said, you are the man, because he had been alternating with Matt Swanson throughout his career, and it gave this young man a great deal of confidence. On 1st and 10, look out. He gets the pass off, and it is incomplete. Stoner again taking a big-time hit. Well, tomorrow on the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, it's the return of Superbacks as Terrell Davis and Jamal Anderson discuss their comebacks from last season's devastating injury. Also, JB sits down with Eagles running back Deuce Staley. Had a great day versus the Cowboys. Full day of NFL action begins tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox and the NFL, according to Jimmy Kimmel. Once again, the I formation on the lower part of your screen with the wide receivers. 2nd and 10. Straight ahead, Derek Arma, the former high school quarterback.
You know, the great thing about spreading the defense out with these 3 wide receivers is you move people away. You know, that's our in-sync right there. 3 guys in a row running together. Oh, man.
And one of them's a quarterback. Matt Swanson, number 15, is the backup QB.
You know what? During warm-ups, though, they had 4 quarterbacks out. They only have 3 centers. Swanson didn't even get a center.
No respect. You saw what Wyoming is on 3rd down conversions, 3rd and 8.
Clock is ticking down on him.
Stoner's going to have to burn his 3rd timeout. And he will. 3 times offensive confusion for Wyoming. Vic Koenig in his first year as head coach of the Wyoming Cowboys. Of course, they had a little bit of adversity with a punt, a Texas A&M punt. Hit a Wyoming player in the foot. A&M recovered and went in for the touchdown, but Vic Koenig knows that part of football is dealing with adversity, and his team knows how to deal with it.
hopefully ingrained into their heads since the beginning of camp was that I am a head coach and their leader is going to be even keeled. We threw a pick going in to score right at the beginning of the game last week, and if I'd have shown panic or frustration or whatever, I think that would have taken away from our mission. It doesn't really matter too much what happens in between. The outcome is what's the most important.
Vic Koenig, as a former inside middle linebacker, we were in training camp together in Green Bay in 1986. He sat in the hotel room and drew up every play in the defensive playbook. Linebackers, even keeled, I don't know about that, but maybe you develop that as a coach.
Well, he told us yesterday that he felt that he didn't handle last week's game very well, and he really needed to improve on that. Third down, Stoner looking, a little look-in pass. It's complete up to about the 38-yard line, and that'll be well short of the first down. Malcolm Floyd, the redshirt freshman out of Sacramento, California, the big 6'6", 200-pounder. Brother Malcolm played with the Oilers. And A&M's defense stands up to the challenge. And now Mickey Jones will be back to receive the kick instead of Chris Taylor.
You can see the flags blowing into him. The breeze is picked up.
It's a fake. Waring right side. But Swanson right side, and he'll get the first down and then some. Swanson is also the backup punter, the junior out of Boise, Idaho. And A&M, I tell you what, you got to pick those things back up and put them on, guys.
You're definitely right. That's one that you don't miss. Swanson last week playing wide receiver through a throwback pass. He threw a touchdown. He's playing receiver. You look up Swanson. Swanson's in the game. That should alert everyone.
Well, they tried an onside kick. It didn't work. They tried a fake punt, and it does work. Matt Swanson giving the Cowboys a first down. 6 minutes to play here in quarter number 2. The wind has picked up. The clouds have come in. Left side with Nate Scott. He had one rush last week versus Auburn for only 11 yards. Coming up to make the stop, Ron Edwards, the 6'3" senior out of Houston, Texas. But once you get behind Flemings, Edwards, Peroni, and you throw Ty Warren in there, not much depth. Lennis Smith, a true freshman out of Tyler, Texas. They'd love to redshirt this young man. They're hoping not having to play him. On 2nd and 9. Swanson with a keeper. Looking for the option. That's an interesting play. You can see he was setting something up there, James.
And it really is. You talk about creativity. Offensive coordinators, they stay up at night dreaming up things to draw up. Defensive coordinators stay up at night wondering what the offensive coordinators are drawing up. Kind of a nice, kind of old single wing set. You got a guy coming underneath, and there's Rusty Burns. You can tell he was up late last night.
Rusty did a great job.
TV in his room there.
Oh, yeah. He did a great job when he was at Georgia Tech as the quarterbacks and running back coach a few years ago. Stoner play action pass. It was complete up to about the 36-yard line. Darth Tusinski, the 6-foot junior out of Brainerd, Nebraska, home of Jeff and Joel Makovica, the great fullbacks of Nebraska.
Talk about drawing all those plays up, but it really starts up front with that offensive line. Nice wall-off protection. Nobody lays a finger on this guy. He could be going to the prom after that. He smells so good.
4th down, less than a yard, and they go for it. And that's Stoner on the, or Jay Stoner on the keeper. And that should be good enough for a first down. He needed to get right to the 35-yard line, depending on where they spot it, and it is indeed a first down. Interesting drive for Wyoming, all set up by Vic Koenig calling the fake punt. 4th down, they go for it, they get it. I'll tell you what, he's ready to go to Vegas.
He doesn't hold anything back.
No, he doesn't.
He knows that the odds are stacked against him. Auburn the first week, Texas A&M the second week. To play tough opponents early, it toughens your team up later for your conference run.
Inside of 4 minutes, Swanson looking again like he's going to pitch it. Penalty flag is thrown as he's able to dive forward back to the line of scrimmage.
Better than even pitching, he may throw the ball back to Jay Stoner.
He looks like he's looking for the seams, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
on the offense, 10-yard penalty, previous spot, repeat first down.
T10.
Well, next week on Fox Sports Net, College Football Saturday, we've got the action covered, a triple header. First coming up, it'll be Northwestern versus number 22 TCU and Heisman hopeful LaDainian Tomlinson. Then we'll follow that up with Michigan State visiting Missouri in Columbia. Then we have number 6 Texas versus Stanford. It all gets started at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. The College Football Saturday pregame show presented by Rivals.com. They get started at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, right here on Fox Net. Great job, Major Applewhite today for Texas. We'll have him next week. Wyoming trying to get a running game going. Darth Tuszynski again. No rushes in game number 1. Here's a young man that grew up in the small town of Brainerd, Nebraska, home of Jeff and Joel Makovica, great fullbacks at Nebraska. Wanted to be a Nebraska Cornhusker. Nebraska wanted him to walk on, but Wyoming offered him a scholarship.
He said, I want a scholarship, and he's gone through a lot of adversity here. Has had an ACL repair on both of his knees. He said that when they went to that spread offense, that saved him because all he had to do was play special teams for a couple of years.
Second down and 19, another long yardage situation for the Cowboys. The pressure is on. Stoner tries to dump it off as he is hit. And that will fall incomplete. But we're seeing that A&M pressure starting to get to that offensive line of Wyoming.
That time was Jason Glenn. He had been out for a couple plays. They've alternated Jason Glenn and Royland Bradley, bringing in some of the other linebackers. I mentioned we have to keep these guys fresh. They're a little undersized. They can go. You want them to go as hard as they can every play. When they get tired, smart coordinators, Slocum, they get them out of the ballgame.
Well, they wanted balance on defense. A&M did. They're getting it right now. 3rd and 19. Stoner not taking any chances as we're inside of 3 minutes in the half. Nate Scott on the carry. A&M doing the smart thing.
If I'm A&M, I use the timeout here.
They've got all of theirs remaining here in the first half. Wyoming will be forced to punt into a very stiff breeze. R.C. Slocum
talked about how close Wyoming is to the line of scrimmage. Here's a great opportunity to come in and try and block this ball. You see the flags blowing. At your block point, your angle has to be more severe than it normally is.
A&M has gotten close on 2 punts. And it's a fake. Swanson looking upstairs. Pass intended for Tuszynski is incomplete. The pass just off the fingertips. It would have been well short of the first down.
And Jason Glenn is there. He gets a hand up. They used to have a call when we were kids called face guarding. Well, face guarding really isn't a penalty, but watch that hand go up right there, and that obscures the vision of Tuszynski. Just enough where he can't catch. Face guard. Remember you're in the playground. Oh, face guarding. He had his hands in my face. That's not a call.
It is in my neighborhood. You told us that today at lunch, and Eric and I didn't believe you. A&M takes over on their own 41-yard line, leading 14-3. Inside of 2 minutes to play. Ferris, a little shuttle pass. Toombs straight up, first down to the 45-yard line.
So that's where you and I differ again. Potato, patata, tomato, tomato. Shuttle, shovel.
Oh, okay. It's a Pittsburgh thing. Just a reminder, coming up on our Nissan halftime report, Kevin, Kellen, and Artie will be in our College Football Saturday studios in Los Angeles. Great finish to #1 Nebraska and Notre Dame, and who's going to be Texas quarterback? Major Applewhite was on fire today. Ferris, pass, complete, down to the 20, or drop. They give it to him?
They're checking. They're calling it
incomplete.
Oh, now we get the third official to come in and wave it off.
Yeah, Robert Ferguson had it look like he kind of just flipped it off to the side.
I think that's the best call because you really want to secure the ball when you go down to the ground. He's down and the ball is out almost immediately.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Solid call by the officiating crew. Not going to see Ferguson drop very many passes.
Well, you get that ball up. You want to catch that ball on the move. The quarterback wants to get it down because you want to protect the receiver. The receiver wants to stay up and catch it.
Ferris scrambling. Screen pass set up to the right. Joe Weber looking for the first down marker, and he's got it. Tyler Gottschalk with the stop. The true freshman out of Hays, Kansas, who's been the big surprise defensively for Wyoming.
And you know, congratulate his guys. And Pat Hurst, number 33, says, no, you're not going to talk to him. Not until I get over there.
Pat, the senior out of Arvada, Colorado. He's coming off major knee surgery. Second game of last year coming back, and he makes sure Mr. Ferris knows he's there. Boy, A&M can really put a dent in Wyoming's hopes if they score on this. They're scoring drives are quick.
See Steve McKinney pointing out who they're going to block, what their blocking scheme is.
The quick pass complete to Bethel Johnson. He lunges forward inside the 25, down to the 24. That should be another first down, pickup of 11.
I talked to Larry Kirksey, who is the new receiver coach. He had been with the 49ers for the last 6 years. Said he came in here, you know, Texas A&M, a running school. Said he watched this kid, Bethel Johnson, during the spring practice and early fall practice. So we've got some talent here. Got to learn to throw the ball a little better, but I have some tools to work with here. They may not be Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens, but these guys are pretty good.
Well, Bethel Johnson just needs a little more consistency. Came to A&M with a great deal of expectations, and R.C. Slocum just has tried to bring him around slowly. You know, R.C. Slocum was talking to us yesterday about the non-conference philosophy they have, and it's an interesting philosophy. They like one big name for a home-and-home series, and Notre Dame, of course, will come here next year. But he's got a good mix of playing the good teams and playing the teams, not bad teams, but maybe the teams that not are the top 25.
Well, you have to look at this Wyoming team, and this team was 7-4 in the Mountain West. And if you're wondering what the Mountain West is, Utah, Colorado, BYU, Air Force, San Diego State, UNLV, and New Mexico. Some pretty good ball clubs in there. You know, we know that BYU won a national championship. A little debated when they won it, but you know, they won it. They went through their schedule tough. And Colorado State, we've seen them whip up on Colorado many seasons. And that's a game that at Boulder they really wish they had never scheduled.
There is big Seth McKinney, brother of Steve McKinney, now in the NFL. He is the bell cow of this offense. 28 consecutive starts for this young man. Ferris pass complete inside the 10, down to the 5-yard line. Again, it is Robert Ferguson picking on Sidney Lewis.
And one of the things that Ferris will learn is how to use the body of his receiver. The receiver turns the numbers, he gets those hands up, he has to go up for it and pull it down, get it down just a little bit lower. Nice gain of 19 yards on the play. But when your receiver has to leave his feet to go over the middle,
look out.
They don't buy you milkshakes during the middle of the week.
Ferris showing a great deal of poise here on this drive again. Weber trying to spin outside, and he is going to be corralled by a bunch of Cowboys.
Another timeout by A&M coming up.
As the clock is inside of 55 seconds. It has been an interesting game so far, and to take us back and look what we've seen, here's Eric Clemens.
And it certainly has been an interesting game. Look at the total yards, just about even. Wyoming, that impressive first drive, but Mark Ferris, you talked about his poise, guys, 11 of 15. Chris Taylor made some big catches, 2 for 48 yards and a 36-yard punt return. Texas A&M making the majority of the big plays right now, guys.
Eric, the wind has really picked up on the top of the stadium. What is it like down on the field right now? Is it as windy as it is up here?
No, it is not as windy down here on the field as it is upstairs, but we do get an occasional good breeze, and even though it's about 85, 90 degrees, Ron, it feels quite balmy out here, and I think I'm going to just relax for the rest of the game, maybe.
I think he needs to get some of that pickle juice, but you also have to look at the new closed end of the stadium, and I think that buffers the wind down at the end where Eric is.
In fact, they're dedicating the new zone, they call it, the Bernard C. Richardson zone, newly added to the Texas A&M facility, and in a couple of years on the other end of the field they're going to have their new athletic facility, which is going to be new coaches' offices, locker rooms, training rooms, study halls, player lounges. Just raised a bunch of money, and R.C. Slocum deserves that here. Going to really add to this field. Capacity in a few years could be 100,000 in the stadium. All the quarterbacks here, everybody wears headsets at A&M. Steve Craigthorpe says he talks to all his backups. Second down and goal to go for Texas A&M. Ferris Scrambling, going for Pater, and has Ferguson overthrew him. Lewis on the coverage, and he was beaten again. Ferris seems to be buying a lot of time up front.
You know, Chuck War is one of their top guys, and Michael Mahan just mayhans it. Well, mayhem? Got a hand on him.
Something like that.
Chuck War is tough, though. That is a tough player. He, you know, when coaches on this staff, Texas A&M, watch him, they say, that's a guy who would be excellent in our conference.
How about the three guys, McKinney, Whitley, and Mahan, all sophomores on that offensive line. Ferris looking, touchdown A&M, Robert Ferguson. Ferguson's first touchdown receiving as an Aggie of A&M.
We saw Ferguson earlier with the good hands, and what he really does, he catches the ball in his hands. He doesn't have those sticky Tacify gloves on, his little tape around his fingers, a la Tim Brown of the Oakland Raiders. Really nice, soft hands by this guy.
Terrence Kitchens, who had some problems last year kicking the football out for the extra point. Straight through the uprights. We've got 43 seconds left in the first half, and Texas A&M has taken advantage of every opportunity. They lead. Strong wind takes the kick right out of the end zone. Cody Skates has boomed that one, the punter. The true freshman who last year at this time was preparing for a high school football game. Just a reminder, our Nissan halftime report straight ahead. Kevin Frazier, Kellen Winslow, and Artie Gigantino. We'll talk about that overtime victory by Nebraska. Eric Crouch with the touchdown run. And Texas. Sims starts. Applewhite replaces him. You and I watched that game. James, I tell you, major was major.
I like production over potential. And Applewhite has been productive every time he's been on the football field. I know the other guy has a famous dad, but doesn't always count for everything.
As your son David may find that out. Yeah, let's see when David's playing somewhere. Well, they got a new quarterback. Matt Swanson has taken some snaps now for Jay Stoner. Swanson last year did take a lot of snaps. Stoner was injured in a couple of games. So this young man is no rookie. You can see the numbers on him. He's a junior out of Boise, Idaho. We've seen him as a punter today, although he faked both. As a wide receiver, as a running back. And he's just going to give Jay Stoner a chance to catch his breath. That'll be the final play of the first half. Texas A&M takes advantage of a couple of Wyoming miscues. They've used very short scoring drives, a minute 17, 35 seconds, and that is why they lead heading into the break, 21-3. Wyoming can only muster a field goal after a great opening drive. That's where we stand right now. A windy day in College Station. Texas A&M looking for their first win of the year and their 20th straight in home openers. They lead it 21-3. And Wyoming goes to the locker room. They have a lot to talk about, but they are far from out of this football game. Well, that's it for the first half here at College Station, Texas. For our Nissan halftime report, we send it to our College Football Saturday studios with Kevin, Kellen, and Artie. Gentlemen.
Ron,
Efficient would be the word Texas A&M would be used to describe the first half. They had the ball just over 8 minutes. Mark Ferris was exceptional. That's why they lead 21-3. Along with James Lofton, I'm Ron Thulin. But if you're Wyoming, you look and you say, wait a minute, we had the ball a long time. How come we're not winning?
I think if you go on the road, you want to possess the ball, but you also want to possess a certain portion of the field, and that is the end zone. They haven't been able to crack that goal line, and that is really what has kept them back. You look at it, 21 minutes and 46 seconds. But the passing yards by A&M, 159 yards, outpacing the Wyoming Cowboys. That has really been the big difference in this ball game. And for quarterback Mark Ferris, this really has been a coming out party. This is the reason that he left baseball, the reason he came back. He's so excited about this. And I think we have a shakeup on the sideline. Stoner saw him get knocked and racked around. He is out for the second half and probably looks like he will not return.
Well, he looks like the phone's ringing and he just doesn't know where the phone is, doesn't he? He looks a little rattled. Almost, you don't want to speculate his injury, but he looks like he's in some pain, James.
But, you know, the thing I like is that he's back on the sideline. He may not feel 100%, but he's going to come out here and at least support his team.
Well, A&M will be kicking off again to Wyoming. Once again, Wyoming won the toss in the beginning of the game. They deferred. Texas A&M decided to go ahead and kick it to them to start the game. And they'll do likewise. A line drive kick. Fielded at about the 5-yard line. Travis Short takes a big hit as he crosses the 20, and that is where Wyoming will begin. Eric Clemens on the sideline. What did Vic Koenig and R.C. Slocum have to say, E?
Well, R.C. Slocum, Ron, was a little bit disappointed his offense didn't get more points in that first half. They didn't have the ball too long. He wants them to come out and have some more fun. He was proud that the defense settled down a little bit after that first Wyoming drive. From the other side of the field in Wyoming, Jay Stoner has suffered a mild concussion. They're going to hold him out of the game in the second half, guys.
Mild concussion is when it happens to somebody else, isn't it?
I think mild concussion is when you know where you are, but you don't know why you're here.
Derek Arma now in the tailback spot. Matt Swanson does have experience, and he is a solid quarterback. But Jay Brooks coming up from that left cornerback spot to make the stop on Arma.
And Derek Arma, a true freshman, you'll realize that when you move to the collegiate level, you can dance once, you can't dance twice and get away from people. Stopped his feet in the backfield, did it once again at the line of scrimmage. These guys aren't going to miss. A nice tackle by Jay Brooks.
From a confidence standpoint, Wyoming offense, do you think they can switch that confidence from the steady Jay Stoner to Matt Swanson?
Well, I think the tough thing is now you take Matt Swanson, who's such a versatile player, and you put him in a more limited and conventional role at just quarterback.
Pickup of 1 on that play, 2nd and 9. Stoner is going to keep it himself and run it. He has got the first down. Crosses the 30 up to about the 33-yard line. Well, Stoner is out with a mild concussion. Here's why.
Yeah, we saw Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys last week suffer his 9th concussion in his NFL career. And it doesn't just have to be one hit. It can be a culmination of a lot of little hits. So when I start jabbing at you, Ron, you better get over. But, you know, it's not a laughing matter because this is something that has to be taken very seriously. And we have another, it looks like, Cowboy down on the field right now.
Well, it's A&M.
A&M.
And it looks like it's Harold Robertson, inside linebacker, the junior out of Dallas, Texas.
You're looking at his right leg. They're looking at the knee, the ankle area. You can see him wincing in pain. You know, the funny thing, and it's not funny, but the unusual thing about a knee injury, sometimes a knee injury doesn't hurt. You can just feel it. You feel the weakness, but you can see the pain on his face right there.
We'll update you on his condition in a moment, but we'll step aside. A&M has the lead. Harold Robertson has been taken off the field on a stretcher. We hope to update his condition for you in just a couple of minutes as soon as it becomes available. 1st and 10 for Wyoming. Swanson being pressured. He lets it fly, and the pass is complete. Close to midfield, being gang tackled. Number 87, Alex English, the senior out of Houston, Texas. But now we're seeing Matt Swanson taking it upside the head.
And it becomes relentless pressure, and the more time that you buy for yourself in the pocket, the more punishment you will take at the tail end of those plays. That time, Jason Glenn, the younger brother of Aaron Glenn, who is a cornerback for the New York Jets, who will be playing on Monday night this week against the New England Patriots.
Jason bigger than Aaron, might add.
A lot bigger.
By about 50 pounds, I think.
That doesn't mean he's tougher. Older brothers are always a little tougher.
That's just because you've got to see Aaron on Monday. You're saying that. 1st and 10 right at midfield. Swanson's pass complete. Pickup of 5 as Malcolm Floyd comes up with a reception. Floyd with his 3rd reception of the ball game.
And we talked about Jason Glenn and Royland Bradley playing that down position. They've moved from their linebacker spot. That time he's just getting locked out by Adam Goldberg, number 74. That doesn't matter. I'm still going to hustle to the thrown ball. And that's that linebacker. Look at that smirk he has on his face there.
Really?
It's kind of like he knows something that we don't know. And he's one of the tougher guys on the team and probably will be playing in the NFL next year.
He is an emotional guy. Plays a great deal of emotion on the football field. 2nd down and 6. Swanson, the quick handoff to Derek Arma. He stood up after a pickup of about 3 on the play. We'll set up 3rd down and short. Let's get back to that injury to Harold Robertson for a moment. Talking to R.C. Slocum yesterday, he said the number one thing in order for them to win this year is stay healthy. They've already been racked with Rocky Bernard. This could be another injury.
Yeah, and that defensive front 7 is getting a little thinner. He talked about winning that Big 12 South. 3 things: stay healthy because you don't have the depth that you need. Number 2, develop the offense. And he was concerned about that young secondary. Well, the young secondary has held up against this vaunted passing attack of Wyoming.
3rd down and 2, inside of 12 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter, and they're not going to get it off. Oh, my. 3rd down and 2 is now 3rd down and 7. Eric Clemens has been on the situation concerning Harold Robertson and now has an update. Eric?
Just what R.C. Slocum needed for this Texas A&M defense. Harold Robertson carted off, as you saw. He has a fractured right ankle. Likely his season is over. As for an update on Stoner, they don't know exactly what play he suffered the mild concussion on, but as you've seen earlier in this half, he is really having a difficult time over there on the sideline. He's definitely won't be back in this game tonight.
Well, if he has a concussion, he's not going to get up and move around. But for Harold Robertson, number 41, that's just another in a long line of injuries.
Yeah.
He's had a shoulder injury, a hamstring injury. They really thought that he was the fastest linebacker that they had. A lot of big playability, but not the ability to stay healthy and to stay on the field for this Aggie football team.
Timeout's been called with 11:47 to play in the 3rd. A&M with a 18-point advantage. Cowboys get called for a delay of game, then they take a timeout. He went over and talked to Rusty Burns, the offensive coordinator. Now they're facing 3rd and 7. 3 wide receivers to the left. A&M showing like they're bringing a bunch, and here they come. The pass caught, dropped, incomplete. Great defense by the wrecking crew, led by Jason Glenn. You can pick who you wanted on that. Brian Gamble was also in on it, but there's the main man right there. And again, Wyoming will be forced to kick it away.
And Swanson is back in punt formation.
Well, now they're going for it. They're not going to kick it. A&M still has one guy back. Taylor's going to have to run up.
Burn a timeout if you're A&M.
Not going to do it. Now Swanson is going to quick kick it. Hits on the 10. Looks like a 9-iron. Has a little backspin on it, and it'll be marked dead right at the 8-yard line. So Swanson pays off with the excellent kick. You know, we talked coming back from halftime how consistent Mark Ferris has been. Here's exactly why.
And you look at the tight end, 0 catches, 0 yards. They better take Mark Ferris out and buy him a milkshake if they want to get some passes. But Ferris has done a nice job in getting the ball to his wide receivers, the big play guys, and the big, ugly tight ends. They just have to stay in and run block. But, you know, they get happy about run blocking.
Well, tight ends yet to make a reception this year. They are not reckless with the football. Ferris isn't reckless with the football. I think he proved that last week, and he's proving it again tonight.
They're going downtown.
Ferris looking deep, has a man wide open, caught! Robert Ferguson, goodbye! For the 4th time tonight, they get to lay a smooch on each other. This one courtesy of Robert Ferguson. His 2nd touchdown reception of the evening. Kitchens on for the extra point. And the kick is good. Chris Taylor had a 96-yarder. He holds the A&M record. Ferguson 3 yards short of that. That goes down as a 93-yarder. How did he get so wide open, James Lofton?
You come off the goal line, everybody's thinking 2 tight end formation. They're going to stick it up in the middle and run the football. And look at all of the Cowboy defenders, and it's one-on-one matchup on the outside. You get a little stumble. He tripped over the chalk line. And all Ferguson has to do is keep his feet upright and then outrun the screen, actually. Run right out of the picture.
course, last year was the big record versus Tulsa back on September the 18th, almost a year ago. Randy McCown upstairs, Chris Taylor, a little catch and run. That covered 96 yards, which is the school record. Mr. Ferguson almost got his name in the books.
And I bet Chris Taylor knew that play was called, and he's thinking, how long was my touchdown last year, and am I going to be number one? You know what? But you're going to join a short list when you catch one over 90 yards.
R.C. Slocum talking to one of his sons, John Harvey.
A little gig-em going on there on the sideline.
Second longest touchdown pass in school history. Cody Skates, the freshman out of Tyler, Texas, played only 1 year of high school football and turned out to be a USA and a parade All-American. He was a soccer player. Travis Short set to receive the kick. But it is Alex English. English up to about the 25-yard line. Now, Wyoming had the ball in the first half the majority of the time, over 21 minutes, and you can see the second longest in history. They had 43 offensive plays to 26 offensive plays. You think frustration may be setting in on their part right now? I think frustration is setting in because what they've done, they've moved the ball well in spurts. They haven't been able to come up with the big play to finish off drives. And Texas A&M is just overwhelming them with the big plays. Down by a count of 28-3. Both looking for their first wins of the year. Running side, right side, Nate Scott. Ferguson is a stud. Eric Clemens, he runs just about as fast as you do, isn't he?
I'd say he's maybe a tad faster, Ron. You know, Coach Cragthorpe told us yesterday he's an excellent all-around athlete, and his junior college experience hardened him. That's not in a bad way. Makes him hungrier. He's also their best blocker as a wide receiver, and anybody with a tattoo on his right arm honoring his grandmother and his mother is okay by me, guys.
All right, thank you, Eric. Second down and 7 after a pickup of 3. Swanson handing it off. They keep it on the ground with Nate Scott. He's a good-looking running back. You know, they lose Al Rich, in case you just joined us, out with a wrist injury. He is not expected to play the rest of the year. Of course, he was a 3-year starter on defense, switched him to running back. And they're relying on Nate Scott and also Derek Armah. But I tell you, that's a nice 1-2 punch for the Cowboys.
It really is. You have the junior college transfer from Siskiyou Junior College up in California. That's right at the top of that state. It's not near any big cities. It's not near San Francisco or Los Angeles or San Diego. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And now he's up in Wyoming. I think he's found a nice home up there.
Third down and 1. A&M, great penetration, and they drop him. Evan Peroni, the junior out of Houston, Texas, really understands the game, and he got great penetration from the line of scrimmage. And Peroni has that long, tall body. That time he explodes. He gets great penetration. When you play defense on the other side of the football, you'll make good things happen. You know, he was the only guy there to make the play. If they get that block, if Adam Goldberg makes that block, the right tackle for Wyoming, they have a positive play. They have their first down. Well, Tom Waring is now back to kick it away. Swanson's going to take a breather. He's done just about everything. Almost get it again. You're almost expecting him to block one of these as Chris Taylor will call a fair catch, and it's going to be the 2-yard halo penalty.
That's
our
about
first
as bad
of the
as
year.
it comes right there.
That is such a difficult call to make.
And the kid is trying to make every effort to get away from him.
Well, we saw it in the Nebraska game today. They were actually running away from the receiver, and they called it.
And this kid is just hustling down there.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's about 1.99 yards, and the rule is 2 yards. So,
and he's making an attempt to get out of the way, though.
He really is.
You think that would be taken into consideration, and I'm sure I'll get letters from the officials on that one. But they talk about intent a lot of times in the rules, the intent and the spirit of the rules. Well, maybe Terry Turlington is going to throw this one away. Let's listen in.
There's a multiple foul on the field. 5-yard buffer zone violation on the kicking team. Dead ball, personal foul on the receiving team. First down.
Okay.
And R.C. Slocum is furious on the sideline. There you see Vic Koenig trying to get the explanation. Slocum wants to know, who was it? What did he do? And I will deal with it. You don't want to get on the bad side of your head coach.
Well, just a reminder, tomorrow on the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, it's the return of Superbacks as Terrell Davis and Jamal Anderson talk about their comeback from last season's injury. JB is going to sit down with Eagles running back Deuce Staley. A full day of NFL action begins tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox. Handoff over the left side, it is Joe Weber. Knee surgery in the offseason to get rid of a little bit of floating cartilage. They are expecting big things from this young man. Talk about a 1-2 combination, Whitaker and Weber, redshirt freshman and a sophomore. You would think that finally A&M, that really has not had the breakaway speed from that position in a couple of years, James, finally may have some.
And both those kids that you mentioned, Whitaker and Weber, both rushed for over 5,000 yards in their high school careers. 5,000. Each.
Not bad. Ferris straight drop over the middle and is incomplete. Pass is intended for Chris Taylor. You know, offense has been a problem. Last year they had only one rush, 30 yards or better, but you can see why the All-Americans on the defensive side.
Well, Texas A&M is known for its defense, the wrecking crew. Those two running backs who were able to make the All-American squads, Darren Lewis back in 1989 and 90, and Leland McElroy. They've had some good runners, but I think really to compete on the national scope, you have to develop that passing game, and they're making some great strides today.
3rd down and 1, Toombs. He gets the first down. And that was part of the problem with the A&M offense. We talked at the top of the show, consistency. Well, they didn't have that great running back last year that had the breakaway threat. They didn't have the big play on offense, and that consistency forced the defense to be on the field a lot of times.
But I also think that when you have a defense as good as A&M has been able to field year in and year out, you can win with defense. And in your mind as a head coach, R.C. Slocum, you think, I can win games 21-17. I can win games 17-14. Now you look at their ability to explode with Ferguson and all the other receivers. This is a high-powered offense, one that can compete with Kansas State, Texas, and Nebraska.
Timeout, A&M. They have the advantage. 28-3, A&M with the lead. We are in the 3rd quarter along with James Lofton and Eric Clemens. I'm Ron Thulin. Game 3 of our quadruple header here on Fox Sports Net. Great day of football. Ferris, straight drop, has the time, has a man, tipped away at the last second by Eric Lee, the junior cornerback out of Wiggins, Mississippi. You know, we were talking about rushing. Last year was the lowest run production total since 1983. And you mentioned that to have a good national attack, you have to run the football. Last week they had 90, tonight 27.
No, I think you have to be able to throw the football. And tonight, Mark Ferris, 252 yards, very efficient throwing the football, 65% completions. This is a team that only completed 49.8% of its passes last year. Huge improvement in the passing game.
2nd down and 10 from the Wyoming 33. They run the option.
And here's a huge improvement in the running game.
Joe Weber stepping over people up to the 45-yard line, and that will be good for another 1st down. Here's Eric Clemens.
Well, many of the long-standing traditions here at A&M. This is Reveille 6 to my left. Now, we just learned something about her. She accompanies the members of Company E2 who take care of her to class. And if she barks in class, class is effectively dismissed. Last year, she did it at least a half dozen times, and these guys love it. That is a true story. Honest to God, guys.
No.
And they're going, speak.
the whole class. Last week, Eric brought Pedialyte. This week, he brought dog bones to the sideline. He's versatile. Ferris's pass complete. Again, it is Robert Ferguson. You know, everybody told us coming into this game how great this man was, what potential he had. I think he's making the two of us a believer.
And when you can throw a ball with this type of touch over the middle, squeeze it in between people, it makes it easy to catch. And he throws this ball in the framework of the body. He doesn't have to go up and get it. There it is, right there in between the numbers. And you know what? That gives a receiver a lot of confidence. When you have to go up and raise your hands over your head and look at Robert Ferguson's numbers for tonight. We talked about Larry Kirksey right there on our screen who had worked with Jerry Rice. He's impressed with these Texas A&M receivers.
Well, one of the physical attributes of Ferguson is he likes to practice. Weber, he's going to be dropped for a loss. Steve Craigthorpe and R.C. Slocum just couldn't say enough things about this young man. If he continues to work hard, and I think it's early in the season, and you can almost compare this to Ferris. Granted, you have one good game like Mark had last week, Ferguson had last week, but it's that improvement, I think, that these two guys have to show throughout the season.
And I think it gives them a good counterpunch, because you can look at their running game in Whitaker and Weber, and you can see the potential there. Now what the offensive line has to do, they have to go from that pass blocking mentality, that mode, to the run blocking. And they have to be able to do it one play to the next.
Big play, baby!
After the loss of 2, Weber again bouncing to the outside. Look out. Inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Pickup of 17 on the play.
You know, we talk about the offensive linemen and the tight ends, about those guys being the blocker. But Jamar Toombs, he is an additional lineman. There is the big body, low center of gravity. And he goes out, he hunts his man out. Sometimes you can go up and you can just find your guy. He's going to come straight to you. That time you saw Toombs looking down the line of scrimmage. He knew when he got in his stance where his guy was, but then his guy shifted as the play went along, and he had to find that man to block.
It's good to see him blocking, though. Something he wanted to work on and become good at doing. Ferris keeps it to the 10, to the 5, to the 3. What a great fake by Mark Ferris. Jack Finn, the redshirt freshman out of Casper, Wyoming, and a shove him out of bounds.
Now you call it a great fake by Mark Ferris, but it's a great fake by the linemen. See them step left? When they step left, the defense flows accordingly, and Mark Ferris takes the ball to the outside. The thing I'm wondering here is he's so wide open, he's thinking, baseball slide or go over the top.
Take that catcher out, Mark. You got to take one for the team. We've got a timeout with 6:30 to play in quarter number 3. The Aggies have the ball on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal. We have a lot more football. Lost to South Carolina today. How about Lou Holtz, 2-0 starting off the season? Who would have thought?
The Gamecocks are back.
1st and goal from the 1. The fans want Jamar Toombs. That's what you're hearing. There he is. Right side, touchdown.
What was that old commercial? You asked for it, you got it. I think the kids just wanted a kiss. I think the kisses get longer the more scoring that goes on.
Why I didn't go to this school is beyond me. I could have had a date in college. Toombs again taking it in. He has blocked well this evening. He has run the ball well. His 2nd rushing touchdown. Whitaker's got a rushing touchdown. Ferguson's got a couple of receiving touchdowns. Kitchens for the extra point. Snaps down. Kick is good. 6:27 to play in quarter number 3. Big Jamar Toombs out of Kilgore, Texas. Gives the Aggies a big lead. Juniors leading the cheers as A&M leads 35-3. How about Derek Leckler? Not Shane Leckler now in the NFL. This is his little brother gets the kickoff. Shane, one of the great kickers in college football history. Dustin Ralph. He crosses the 20 up to the 24 for a Dr. Pepper game break. Let's send it to Kevin Frazier in our College Football Saturday studios.
Ron, a good day so far for Oklahoma quarterback Josh Heupel. He has 2 touchdowns by air, 1 by ground, and when you get time like this, I guess you have no problems. He hits Andre Wolford there, 28-7 at the half. Hey, guys, whatever happened to all that Heupel for Heisman talk?
I think if they start seeing those highlights, they will. But there was one guy rushing the passer that dropped 10 men back in coverage. You know, that's not as easy as it looked. He had a lot of time to throw the football, but to be able to weave your way through 10 defenders, that's not easy.
They got a good backup at Oklahoma, too, with Nate Hibble. Swanson back to pass, going deep. That is for nobody in particular. The closest person had a maroon jersey on. That was Sammy Davis. Well, Jamar Toombs talking to the people upstairs after that 80-yard, 10-play drive, 3:04, the longest scoring drive for the Aggies tonight.
No, that's not exactly right. When you score a touchdown, you get to listen to your favorite CD.
Okay. The Baja Men. Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
I know the words to that. Want me to sing it?
Maybe during the next commercial break.
Okay. Wyoming now facing 2nd and 10. 6:11 to play in quarter number 3. They've had the ball a long time, but they've had a couple of miscues. Some penalties hurt them. A punt that hit one of their players. A&M recovered, took it in a play later. Shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. A&M showing blitz, and here they come. They bring 6. Swanson's pass is complete. Great catch by Ryan McGuffey. Pickup of 15 on the play, but he paid for it.
When you play in a hostile environment, one of the things that you have to deal with is crowd noise. If you can't hear the quarterback, what you do, you hold hands next to the guy, and when that guy lets your hand go, he's had the snap. And McGuffey, number 85, is just a tough receiver, makes the catch, comes up smiling.
How he came up smiling is beyond me. He took a wallet. First down for the Cowboys. Trying to get something going offensively. How about that little shuffle pass? Derek Armah with the ball. This is the best offensive drive, I think, for Wyoming since the opening drive.
And I think there's some adjustment. You've lost your designated leader in Jay Stoner. Matt Swanson, kind of a do-all player, has come in. And now you have to readjust. You have to reset your game sights. And Stoner hasn't moved from that spot on the sideline. Normally what they do, if you're really in trouble, they have someone sit next to you the whole time.
Let's hope he's all right. And this offense is geared so much towards Stoner's ability. Now you have to make those adjustments like James said. A&M rushing 4. Swanson pressured and dropped. Ty Warren with his first sack of the year. Second sack of the evening for the Aggies.
Now you're watching at home, sitting on your comfortable living room, and you thought he had enough time to throw the football. Maybe he does, but watch the coverage down the field. His guys are not getting open. He's trying to stretch the field. Texas A&M has a lot of speed. These guys are in close. You don't see White away from Maroon enough to throw the football. There's a guy right in the middle. He would have intercepted that pass.
Loss of 7, second down. We'll call it 17 and a half, closer to 18. Penalty flag. It's not a clock violation. That was at 4. There was some movement on the offensive line.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
You talked just moments ago. These are drive killers. You get a sack. Then you have a false start penalty, and instead of a 10-yard situation where you're just trying to pick up 10 yards, now you're saddled with trying to gain 22 yards before you get to the first down.
Vic Koenig is learning how to be a head coach. Learned last week, learned again tonight. Swanson tries to keep it himself, trying to outrun the coverage. And he is going to be corralled. Jason Glenn getting him from behind. Cornelius Anthony also getting him. Now for A&M's defense, we saw Harold Robertson, the linebacker, go out a little while ago, but we've got an update on his injury. Eric, is it good news for Harold Robertson?
Yeah, maybe the football gods are smiling on R.C. Slocum a little bit. We were initially told by the staff that he had a fractured right ankle. X-rays, though, proved negative. He just has a very severely sprained right ankle. Still not going to play later on in this game, but that is good news for R.C. Slocum and the A&M Aggies.
That is great news. Now you're talking about maybe a 2 or 3 week period where he's out. He'll be back with the team, but a broken ankle, he's been done for the season.
3rd and 17. Swanson gets clobbered. Brian Gamble, the sophomore out of Alto, Texas, with the sack. That is the 3rd of the ball game, and this is a young man that is playing under a great deal of a heavy heart, for a better term. Mother passed away in April, a tragic car accident, and he's helped out by the coverage.
And there's the coverage downfield. He's trying to hit big number 88, Malcolm Floyd, and he just gets leveled. You know, if you're in the NFL and you're going for a shot like that on the quarterback, you get flags, you get fined by the NFL office. Here you get a Go Aggies card.
That's his second sack of the season. And again, Wyoming forced to kick it away. Taylor backs up to the 20, looking for the wall. He's got some running room, just getting tripped up from behind at about the 38-yard line. We'll call it 18 on the return. And a wrecking crew defense standing up to the challenge. Wyoming again having a great drive. Once again, penalty costs them.
Yeah, but we've also seen some fine special teams play by Texas A&M, and a coach who got welcome back, who RC knows a lot. Sean Slocum came back. He's now coordinating that unit, and RC got his son back. His son went out to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, to fool around for a couple years at the University of Southern California, but now he's back, and he's glad to be back home. He missed this atmosphere here.
Well, Sean played football at Bryan High School. Now we've got Vance Smith has checked into the lineup at quarterback. Richard Whitaker with the run. Vance Smith along with Ferris and Colby Freeman, they were locked in a three-way battle for quarterback during the spring. He is a big man, and he's got a rifle for an arm.
And the most interesting thing about him, he's from a small private school, Fort Worth Christian, up in Grand Prairie. And maybe interesting, but wide receivers block. They block all the time. Our camera guys just want to show it as if we never do any work down the field. Wide receivers are the busiest guys, the most intense. Yeah. They are. Well, trust me.
I do. 2:44 to play in quarter number 3. They're going to keep it on the ground. Not much running room. The Cowboys are there to stack things up. Tim Glenn led the charge along with Chad Bueller, the junior out of Bellevue, Florida, junior college transfer out of Coffeyville Junior College. And tell you, you grow up here in College Station area, you grow up an Aggie. There is Ferris, and he's still working. Like a third base coach now, huh?
He just told him to steal. Good numbers for the night on Ferris, 14 out of 21, 272 yards. And really not a misthrown ball thrown into coverage that could have been intercepted. A lot of clean throws by Ferris tonight.
It's 30 for 59 now for the 2 games. That's a hefty percentage. Smith looking for some running room, and he is going to be taken down at about the 47-yard line. Sean Abram is the one who made the tackle. Well, we've got another injured player, Adrian Hill, the linebacker out of Cedar Hill, Texas. He is going to be taken off the field, looking at his left heel, left leg.
Cedar Hill just south of Dallas, probably a 3-hour drive, so his family got a chance to come down. Pretty sure they're all concerned. He didn't look like he was in a whole lot of pain, but pretty sure that family will be making their way through the stands and trying to get over to the training room area to get a report on him.
You surprised that they pulled Ferris so early here and still a lot of time left, and your offense is still trying to gel and become cohesive?
Looked like they were pretty solid when they left the ball game. And I think what it does is they had a pretty good quarterback competition during the spring and the fall with Vance Smith, Colby Freeman, Mark Ferris obviously being the winner. And so you reward those guys a little bit. It's not like you're throwing them a nugget, but they prepare, they want to get ball games. And I think for Ferris, when he took that run on that bootleg, and the coaches said, well, maybe he's not 4 or 5. Let's get this guy out of the ball game, get him safe. And you also don't want to rub it in on Wyoming.
Now, Colby Freeman, the third quarterback in the system, is really the runner of the group. Skates back to kick it away. He has done a marvelous job punting the football, taking some big shoes, Shane Leckler shoes. Ryan McGuffey with the catch at the 12-yard line. And Cody Skates out of Tyler, Texas. Another excellent punt. We just saw Adrian Hill being taken off the field. Eric Clemens, how's his status?
Well, his status is this, unsure right now. He has an ankle injury. He's simply going into the dressing room area for some x-rays, and the status of the severity of that injury, of course, will be determined later. We'll keep you posted, guys.
Thank you, Eric. Eric, this is the first of 3 games we've had this year that it's cool on the sidelines.
Cooler.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I was talking to some of the Wyoming players, and they said they've been practicing in the morning when it's about 60 degrees, but what it does, it allows them to go to some classes that they can't take early in the day.
Swanson's pass in the flat is overthrown. Intended for Marcus Ford, a fullback.
And you saw Matt Swanson holding his back there at the tail end of the play. and you can just watch, and you will know why. Step into this ball, and he gets hit.
Second down and 10. A&M shuffling a lot of defensive personnel in, and you can see the yards per play. How about almost 9 compared to 3.5? And the scoring drives have been shorter. Swanson looks for the draw, keeps it, being chased. That is a great open field tackle by Jay Brooks. Along with James Lofton and Eric Clemens, I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you to Kyle Field in College Station, Texas, where the Texas A&M Aggies, the first time out of the top 25 since 1996, trying to get back in it. Right now they lead Wyoming 35-3 as we close into the final seconds of quarter number 3. Starting quarterback Jay Stoner of Wyoming is out with what they're calling a mild concussion. Matt Swanson, his backup, is in.
And he's not faring a lot better.
No, he's taking some licks himself. 4-man front for the Aggies. Here they come. Look out. Setting up the screen to a wide receiver. Malcolm Floyd doesn't get a whole lot. And that should end quarter number 3. 15 minutes of football are left in College Station, Texas, and the Aggies are putting out an offensive show led by 25-year-old Mark Ferris. We'll be back. Number 4. Well, no return on the kick. A&M will have excellent field position. Now, we've talked about the wrecking crew defense. Here's what they've done tonight.
Yeah, we saw the number of All-Americans that came out of the 90s on defense. It looks like we'll at least have some all-conference performers. They have been everywhere. They have been there often. A lot of big hits. Just pressure. We're playing quarterback for them. It has not been fun tonight.
Defensive coordinator Mike Hankowitz in his 4th year had 8 starters returning. He says defining wrecking crew, it's simple. Swarming, aggressive, gang tackling with effort and aggressive mentality. Colby Freeman is now the quarterback, and he keeps it. Colby Freeman, the redshirt freshman out of Brownwood, Texas. He is the runner of the group. Talk about a 3-headed monster.
Yeah, but Colby Freeman's thinking, I warmed up about 2.5 hours ago. In the first play you put me in, I got a bootleg. I don't get to stretch my legs out, but he'll take it.
Absolutely. They brought in Pete Hayner to work with the quarterbacks. Ray Dorr, the quarterback's coach of last couple of years, of course, suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease. We wish him the best. He is now a special assistant to the football team. Freeman on the pitch back. Plenty of running room. Maurice Harris, number 29. The sophomore out of Aldine, Texas, Nimitz High School. Well, it was a pretty good first quarter, 7-3, but then A&M hung a couple of touchdowns in quarters number 2 and 3, and that's where we are right now. A&M getting a lot of players in tonight, getting some playing time. Freeman from the shotgun. They're going to keep it on the ground. Again, it is Marcus Harris. Or Maurice Harris.
After went number 42, Matt Klotz. And number 2, Patrick DeFlora.
Now also Wyoming, they're also warming up a couple of other quarterbacks. Brandon Neal and Casey Bramlett, 2 backup quarterbacks. Neal is really considered the 3rd-team quarterback on this Wyoming squad. So Vic Koenig throwing up the white flag already. Right side, breakaway speed. He's down to the 6-yard line. Deshaun Abram on the tackle.
Boy, you can't draw him up any better than this, but number 40 is coming on an all-out charge. And when he does that, you can see the crease that's about to develop. And this is not a big back, but he is small enough to get through. And a nice job by Deshaun Abrams at the tail end of play. He's playing with a broken thumb, out there battling, huge cast on his hand. And look at the rushing advantage that's now taking place on the Texas side of the ball.
Well, they like
Texas
Harris.
A&M side of the ball. Oops.
Oh, boy, don't ever get that wrong.
I meant Texas A&M.
They like Harris. They think he's got some breakaway speed. And that's the first real miscue we've seen by this A&M offense. And you can see Colby Freeman saying, my bad. Letting the play clock go down to 0, and that'll be a 5-yard penalty.
Delay of the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, they'll move it back 5 yards. First and goal, they put the ball on the 12-yard line.
And you're trying to run your offense. You don't want to apparently rub things in, so you'd like to keep the ball on the ground if you can here.
Harris inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. And you know, Seth McKinney, the big sophomore out of Austin, Texas, is still in there at center. One of the great stories is senior year of high school. He was in a pep rally. He broke his foot doing a Mexican hat dance. I don't think I've ever heard a football player breaking a foot in a pep rally.
Step on a cement hat?
I don't know what he did. Said he talks with his brother Steve a lot.
Well, Steve has the good fortune now of protecting Peyton Manning and
look at a smile,
opening up holes for Adrian James of the Indianapolis Colts, and thinking, you know, I could do what my big brother does.
He's doing it right now. Second and goal from the 4-yard line. Freeman keeps it himself. Touchdown! His first as an Aggie. Well, this young man, the redshirt freshman out of Brownwood, Texas, will not forget his first touchdown as a Texas A&M Aggie.
You know, the fake sounds simple, but you get that. You get Chuck Ward just out of position momentarily. You can see those legs. Those legs are tired. He's been chasing guys around all night long. Number 2, one of the Warriors, but nice touchdown for the redshirt freshman, Colby Freeman.
And the extra point is good. Plenty of time left in the 4th quarter, and this is turning into some kind of movie. 42-3 is a couple of years ago, and asking him, is it tougher to have practice on a Monday after a big win or after a loss? He said after a win, because you have to find something wrong to talk about. Well, he's going to have to really dig deep, because that scoring drive only took 6 plays and 251. Colby Freeman with the run in for the touchdown, and Derek Leckler set to kick it away once again. And that is going to be down right at the 13-yard line. Not much running room at all. Now let's take a look at the coaches. Vic Koenig in his first year as a head coach. Still looking for his first win. Still looking for his first bowl. And what a job R.C. Slocum has done here. This is his 28th year, part of the university, dating back to his days as an assistant coach. You don't hear that too much, James.
You really don't, and you wonder why someone as talented as R.C. Slocum has not left to go to the professional levels, but he's very content here. He loves his program, he loves his school, and he has so many of these old Aggie t-shirts, if he left, he wouldn't know what to do with all of them.
Wyoming's going to try to do something on the ground. Derek Armand takes it over the left side, finds a little bit of running room. Of course, R.C. Slocum had a great summer. He got married. Congratulations to R.C. and his new wife, Nell. He married up. I'll tell you that. I know R.C. He married up on that one. He is truly one of the great gentlemen of college football. Of course, he's good friends with our College Football Saturday studio show. They coach with each other at Southern Cal, and he's glad Artie's in the studio for a number of reasons. Brandon Neal, the quarterback, throws it off to the right side, and Ryan McGuffey can't get the hand on it. So Wyoming also going to some of the younger players. Neal, the sophomore out of Great Falls, Montana. Good size at 6'3", 207. Yet to throw a pass this year. Until then. Down and 7. 3 wide receivers to the right. thought in tempo in the beginning of the game they had it, but they haven't had it since that first series. Neal gets hit as he throws, and it is going to be picked off. Are they going to count it? Yes. Sean Weston, the redshirt freshman out of Gardena, California, with his first interception as a collegiate.
And if you're going to put pressure on the quarterbacks this week, Neal was actually spent all week long probably being Mark Ferris, the quarterback on the scout team. Now he finds himself in the ball game. During the week he was throwing to the Aggies, and when he got in the ball game, he's still throwing the ball to the Aggies.
Now the A&M defense did not force a turnover last week against Notre Dame. They come up with that interception. And they also had a fumble recovery in the first half, so they've done 2 tonight. Vance Smith back in at quarterback. Straight ahead running. This time it is Fleming, the ball carrier. Oshlor Fleming, number 32.
Tackler number 4.
He is a freshman redshirt out of Denton, Texas, just north of Dallas. He's a bowling ball at 5'10", 204. Fleming again, the lone setback. Vance Smith, the quarterback. Ferris is taking a breather, looking for the reverse. They fake it. Smith lets it fly. We saw the velocity on his arm as he completes the pass down to the 10. Fumble. Let's see what the officials are going to say, and it is Wyoming's football. James coming up with it. Lamar James, the quarterback.
At the tail end of the play, you have the pass completion. When I look at the pile as the guys unload, there are 2 Texas A&M Aggies, and there are 6 Wyoming Cowboys. That means that these guys haven't quit. Sure, you're down 42-3. Ball game looks hopeless. You continue to play hard. You play one play at a time, and you make something positive happen.
Greg Porter was the recipient of the pass, the baseball player, and that was an E4? Fumble again. Ball is loose. A&M goes on it. The officials say Wyoming gets it back. Boy, that was a bug loose on a rug. It was wide open. Everybody was diving in trying to get a piece of that ball. Well, not a good night for Jay Stoner on the left. Matt Swanson on the right, the backup.
And I think that Stoner actually looks like he has some ice either on his shoulder or his chest, because you can see the plastic that's just sticking out right there. So he's icing something down. Not only did he get a concussion, he may have a bruised sternum, and I'm sitting up here playing doctor, but I know when you put ice in certain places, what's hurting on you.
Wyoming backed up now to the 5-yard line. 3-step drop by Neal, looking for somebody, going deep down the right sideline, and that's into the Wyoming bench. Had some time, but was scrambling for dear life.
And one of the areas of concern for R.C. Slocum and his staff was this young secondary. And these guys, Jay Brooks, Sean Weston, Jonte Buell, have really come along and played pretty well. The star of the secondary, Sammy Davis, is now a guy who's been able to retreat to the sideline and take a rest. But the rest of the guys out there are really playing in their first season of college football. And against a team that throws the ball pretty well, they're holding up extremely well.
Third down at 14. Draw play, nothing doing. Stuffed right at the line of scrimmage by Ty Warren. Played as a true freshman. This young man is a monster.
And Ty Warren, number 94, has been out with an ankle injury in the first ball game. He's going to come and bust right through. There he is right there. Watch him make the penetration, the spin move. Actually, he was on the other side. I'll circle him the second time around.
How about Ty Warren? When Sean Slocum was at USC, you mentioned he spent some time there. He tried to recruit Ty Warren to come there, but the sophomore out of Bryan, Texas said no can do. Mickey Jones set to receive the kick. Good booming kick. Jones backing up to the 40. Takes a step, has a wall forming. Steps away from a couple of tacklers. Inside the 50, penalty flag is thrown. A lot of extracurricular activities. We've got flags all over the place.
This will not make Vic Koenig happy because you want your players to keep their composure during the course of the ball game. Got an injured Cowboy down on the field.
Number 20. Well, they've got duped numbers.
I think that may be number
Kairos?
50, Leo Kairos. Yeah.
Leo Kairos, the senior out of Maui, Hawaii. Former walk-on.
Now, how do you walk on from Hawaii, across the Bering Strait, up and around?
Very long walk. He is a good player, too. He's a tough kid. He was a state champion steer wrestler and bull rider. And they are working on him. A couple of players have had to go off for Wyoming tonight. Here's Terry Turlington, our referee.
Dead ball. Personal foul on Texas A&M.
Oh.
Dead ball. Personal foul on Wyoming. By rule, they offset. First down.
No blood, no foul as Kairos stays down. You know, the latest craze now with this heat and humidity we've had here in Texas is pickle juice as we look at Kairos out of Maui, Hawaii. Would you ever take pickle juice? George has done it, and Eagles did it last week.
I took some earlier today, and I'm feeling pretty good.
Good for you. Tough night for Vic Koenig and company. He trails 42-3. We'll be back. Offsetting personal foul penalties.
Okay, there's the first hit. There's the second. That's not a lot.
Well, 25 for A&M. According to our records, is Chris Sims. Pass is complete. Up to Eamon Simon, a running back. Once again, R.C. Slocum going to his bench. Simon, the junior out of Houston, Texas, out of Smiley High School.
Here's Dwayne Goins. I talked to Larry Kurtze, who is a wide receiver coach. This guy runs 4.24 in the 40. Great track speed. It's a tailback in high school. What he's now learning to do is kind of play out in space. You play wide receiver, you have to learn to use your speed a little better, and he has that functional football speed.
It's one of those track guys playing football, right? A&M straight ahead, trying to eke out that running game. Still going over the middle of the line. The stats are not going to show what kind of game they have had tonight as far as running. And just a reminder, we still have more football coming your way here on Fox Sports Net. Ohio State, the number 18 ranked team in the country, on Arizona in a wind-up our quadruple header here on Fox Sports Net. Steve Hisiak, Tom Ramsey, Lisa Milowski, all standing by out on the West Coast. That should be an excellent football game.
We got Ortiz Jenkins out there. No more dual-headed monster out in the desert. He's the main quarterback.
Personal Winslow, as we saw during our pregame show. Kellen still had some hands. He was throwing him some balls. Kellen had. Then Kellen's trying to teach him how to pass the ball.
Let me just tell you this about Kellen's hands. That was the magic of television.
Right side. Dead ball. Ball start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
You got to expound on that one.
Well, you know, you get enough takes in. You got your camera guy. You don't use the take when Kellen dropped the ball.
Okay.
Did you see that big bruise on his forehead today? Ball that hit him right in the head.
Zardy would probably say he wasn't being covered correctly, so, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Artie
Kellen
Kellen
could draw up a defense to stop Kellen Winslow in his prime.
I think he could.
No, I don't think he could.
On the option. Inside the 30, inside the 25. Maurice Harris again. This is a good-looking little back as they continue the fans, and we understand there's some pretty big thunderstorms just north of us. So there's a little bit of lightning on there, so hopefully we can get this thing in before the rain hits.
And, you know, I think the Texas A&M fans who are here are watching what I would really consider the new brand of football for this ball club. We saw the offensive firepower that they have in throwing the football. So when you do get a lead in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, that's when you start to run. You want to be able to pound on people, and you really do throw to set up the run.
Third down and 3. Freeman rolls out. Pass into the flat is dropped. Thrown just a shade behind the intended receiver, Dwayne Goins. But R.C. Slocum has been dominant at home. We talked about Kansas State last week when they were taking on Louisiana Tech. How about A&M? That's the 5th best home winning streak, and it'll go to 20 tonight.
Well, you need a little asterisk right there by Marshall, because some of those wins, what they Division I AA or Division I Frito Loops or whatever it's called, but they're a great program now, but some of those were against lesser opponents.
Now they're going to attempt a field goal. Here is Terrence Kitchens, who had 7 blocked field goal attempts last year, including back-to-back in the Nebraska game. This will be a 40-yarder. Ball's down, and the kick is good. So Kitchens trying to get off the schneid from last year, and he does it with a field goal. A&M with a big advantage. Dustin Ralph with the return, and our 12th man again making his way down. This is a big honor for these young men to be the 12th man. How about a little hustle here?
And we talked about being a marked man. He will not go down the field untouched. The Cowboys have their eyes on him. There's the first guy to get to him, and he finds his way, gets in on the tackle. He's right on top of it.
Of course, that's Scott Stickane of Trophy Club Texas, Northwest High School. Fumble, the ball is loose. Have a little scrum going on. The new quarterback, by the way, Casey Bramlett. Always happens when the 3rd or 4th team quarterback comes in, have a little exchange problems. You know, we talked about Kitchens and the problems he had last year. What did he do to improve, James?
Well, what he did is he moved his plant foot up, which will be his left foot. He's a right-footed kicker, up about 1.5 inches. And he also did some kickboxing during the offseason. He got the leg speed up because he was a line drive kicker. He kicked a 62-yard field goal last year, but he had 7 kicks blocked because there were line drives. Now with that swing, it's kind of like getting that iron play up in the air if you're a golfer. And that is a big confidence booster. You know, you look at the scoreboard, they didn't need it. I think the ball may be on the carpet again, but that builds this kid's confidence, and they're going to need him before this Big 12 season is over.
Well, we had a fumble, and Texas A&M has recovered, and we have an Aggie down on the field. And it looks like it may be Jay Brooks, the left cornerback.
And I think Jay Brooks is at that fatigue point. They've been chasing guys around all night long. He's there hustling for the ball. He's just mad because he didn't get the fumble.
And we have a penalty flag thrown right at about the 25-yard line.
The Cowboys are walking backwards toward their
not a good
end
sign.
zone.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Wyoming, half the distance to the goal, first down.
They've had about 3 or 4 of those unsportsmanlike conducts tonight. Started out with Sidney Lewis just giving one upside of the head to A&M wide receiver Robert Ferguson. They've had a couple of them, and that's something that Vic Koning's going to have to talk about. And R.C. Slocum knows the importance that you've got to remain poised even in the worst case scenario.
And for Vic Koning, last week's ball game against Auburn, this week's game against Texas A&M, they're going up against the big powerhouses in the country. They get a big payday, but you also pay a big price, and you need to keep your composure. You want your team to get better. You don't want them to get frustrated. And right now, the Cowboys are a frustrated group.
Kevin Magnum, the ball carrier. Ferris continuing to work on the sideline along with Colby Freeman.
Now you see both guys signaling in the plays. One guy signals in the real play. The other guy signals in the dummy play. There have been occasions where the real play has actually been the dummy play and the dummy play the real play. That's when the plays don't work.
Okay, I'll believe you. Right side looking for another 7. Fleming, the ball carrier, looking for his first touchdown, and RC can take a time to laugh, and Colby Freeman gives a yahoo.
Big block. There was a big block by the fullback on that last play. He's clearing it out. And, you know, everybody knows who Jamar Toombs is. He gets in the ball game. You get inside the 10, they go Toombs. Backup fullbacks, they're pretty obscure on this team. That was a heck of a block.
James Milkovich, the new center, number 54. They're going to keep it on the ground, straight ahead, down to the 2-yard line, short of pay dirt. Once again, it is Fleming. And that'll set up a 4th and goal.
What do you do here, Coach Ron?
Well, you'll be accused of running up the score, but, you know, I would have to think that go ahead and go for it because it's back to the 2-yard line now.
You know what? You get it that close to kick a field goal.
Absolutely.
You don't want your kicker to strain a muscle trying to get that ball in there.
Vance Smith's got the play from the sideline. Klotz is going off. That right shoulder is dipping a lot for the young man.
And that's a sure indication of a stinger. You get a little pinched nerve and that right arm goes numb, and they'll check it, and hopefully those things just iron out. But you get a lot of those. Frequency goes up. It's kind of like concussions. They become reoccurring.
Matt out of Englewood, Colorado, Cherry Creek High School, just a junior. And we have a timeout. 4:41 to play in a football game. Vance Smith is the quarterback now for A&M. They've played everybody. Now Texas A&M, of course, 2 years ago, this resembles that season. They lost to Florida State in the opener in the Kickoff Classic. They rattled off 10 wins in a row. Here they lose to Notre Dame, and you look at the tough games they have coming up.
And games that didn't appear tough become tough. That Texas Tech ball club, Mike Leach, they're throwing the ball all around the park, basketball on grass. That will be a tough one. Baylor, after you play Colorado, a team like Baylor can sneak up on you. Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Texas. Those last 4 weeks of the season, that will be make or break time for the Texas A&M Aggies.
I'll tell you what, James, I'd circle October 28th because don't forget, back in 1998, R.C. Slocum's team, he was the one that ruined the season for Kansas State. And the Wildcats, I know Coach Snyder's going to have up. And this place will fill to the 80,650 capacity for that ball game. A lot of title hopes on the line. 4th and goal, about the 2.
Wait a minute, did the Aggies have 12 men on the field then?
Doesn't matter. Wyoming has the football. Smith fumbled it. Let's see if we can count these gentlemen.
Let me see if I can do my math. We have 7 guys on the line plus a quarterback. That's 8, 9, 10, 11.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right. Terry Turlington and the gentleman in the stripes didn't catch it.
You get 1 play per game where you get to use 12 guys. Home of the 12th man.
This is Canadian rule, right?
Welcome to Aggie land.
Yeah, the Canadian rule here. Now Wyoming takes over. Their backs are against the wall, and you try to look for something good in this situation, and it is going to be very difficult to do. Casey Bramlett, the quarterback, whistle, and I think the play clock may have dropped down to a couple of zeros. I'll tell you what, it goes from bad to worse.
And the tough thing for Rusty Burns.
Delay of the game on the offense, half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Tough thing for Rusty Burns. We saw on the opening sequence, he's shuffling different formations, a lot of different looks. They're moving the ball around. Now what you've done, you say, okay, we have to scrap the offensive game plan. We don't want to show anything that we'd like to use in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
We're going to line up. We're going to run our base plays. And our base plays against this tough Aggie defense, even if it is second teamers, we don't match up well physically.
Well, they're keeping Nate Scott in, who saw a lot of playing time, and he has the football as they try to barrel their way through. And I think if you're Wyoming, you're saying to yourself right now, all right, these are non-conference games. We still have the conference play coming our way. We still have a lot of football remaining. And all's not lost by losing to teams like Auburn and Texas A&M, who will both be in the top 25 come the end of the season.
Yeah, it's just tough taking one on the chin.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to talk about moral victories or anything like that, but this is a tough ball game, and it's tough to stomach.
Almost a safety. Scott avoids it. He is gang tackled again. Penwright in on the stop, number 43, Damian West. The redshirt freshman out of Sugar Land, Texas, down by Houston. Of course, R.C. Slocum's troops next week will be hosting Texas El Paso. This is the first of 4 consecutive home games. After that, they only have 2 home games, Kansas State and Oklahoma. Their schedule is difficult, as we saw a moment ago. But they do avoid Nebraska this year. 3rd down and 8. A&M bringing 4. Bramlett's pass off the pads, incomplete. Intended receiver was Michael Wallstrom, the wide receiver, out of Chadron, Nebraska. Steve Fiziak, Tom Ramsey, Lisa Milowski standing by. Ohio State and Arizona coming up immediately following our game. Cowboys set to kick it away. Tom Waring in his own end zone. Pooch kick, and again A&M close to getting a piece of it. Bethel Johnson at the 40. Look out to the 50, 45, 40, 35. Bethel Johnson with an excellent return for the special teams. We saw Chris Taylor earlier. Now it is Johnson's turn. How much improvement, James, is there from the first game to the second game? Defensively, you hope to see it, but how about offensively?
Well, I think there's that visual learning. When you're getting ready for that first game, you don't have the film to watch of your opponent. You don't have film to watch of yourself in a game situation. They've been able to watch film. They've been able to improve on the little things. And you can see it. This is not the opponent that they faced last week, but they're making strides.
Sportsmanlike conduct on the Wyoming bench. First down.
On the bench. That has to be the 4th one against them on sportsmanlike conduct tonight. The man standing right there to the right of R.C. Slocum, we saw him, was John Harvey, his son. Vic Conan is going to have a lot of film to look at come tomorrow morning. I bet you he probably doesn't wait till tomorrow.
You know what? There are some games, though, that you don't watch the film on.
Really?
Yeah, there's some instances where you've gotten beaten so badly that there's nothing really good to come out of. Your quarterbacks got knocked around. You got one knocked out the game. You got one that you took out the game, and Matt Swanson, because you kind of feared for his safety. And you don't want to revisit this.
Try the left side. They're going to keep it on the ground. Harris with the carry, getting a little work. Here's John Harvey. He had a heart problem a couple of years ago. He had to undergo open heart surgery the summer of 1999, and he is doing very well. And has to be special for RC. You have Sean Slocum on the sideline, and his son John Harvey, who's a student here at A&M, also joining him on the sideline. That's a great time for RC to have his son so much a part of this program. Now they're going to try the right side with Harris. Little bit of running room, and he is going to be upended, caught from behind by John Wilson, one of the linebackers in a reserve role for Wyoming.
You know, we talked earlier about Texas A&M, the Big 12 South package. We saw Texas earlier today, and we saw the quarterback controversy, Major Applewhite, Phil Simms, but a very impressive Texas team. They throw the ball extremely well, and I really think the strides that they made throwing the ball today and the way that their young secondary held out, they can stay healthy, they can compete.
Colby Freeman with a keeper, and he goes down to the 2-yard line. And we told you he was the runner, and Colby shows us why.
And Colby Freeman is the runner because he is the physical guy. But physical people have to be smart. You see a good fake, play action, he sticks it in there, he nods his head that way. He's listed at 6'2", 218 pounds. He'd be 6'2" with 2-inch lifts. He's about 6 feet tall.
Ferris continues to give him signals. And the clock now winding down inside of 1:30 to play in the ball game. It has been all A&M since the opening quarter. Left side, going in for the touchdown. No signal by the officials as Eamon Simon, the running back, trying to sneak in the little hole on that left side.
You know, we talked about you give effort. It doesn't matter if it's the first play. It doesn't matter if you've just gotten off the bus. You continue to play. And look at the Cowboys. They're swarming after the football. You know, talked about watching the film. There's some good things even late in the ball game. There are a couple plays you might want to pick out just to look at the intensity and the effort level. You're Vic Conan.
2nd and goal. Straight ahead, you can hear the pads popping, and we've got another touchdown. Eamon Simon goes into the end zone for the Aggies with 43 seconds left to play in the ball game. And he'll get a couple of attaboys from his teammates. Well, now you have to wonder, will A&M bounce back into the top 25 after this? Another kicker into the lineup. This Cody Skates, the punter. He's going to try the extra point. And it is blocked. Cody Skates really didn't get that one airborne. His first attempt in the collegiate career, but we have a timeout. 43 ticks left. A&M leading Wyoming 51-3. Unscathed in this ball game. They did have Harold Robertson go out. First they thought it was a fracture problem, and now they're saying just a severely sprained ankle. That's good news. Ferris had a steady football game. They had a nice rushing attack with Whitaker and Weber. And we saw the talents of Robert Ferguson, who could quite possibly be the best athlete on this A&M team this year.
And he reminds me a lot of Quincy Morgan from Kansas State.
Now we saw the yell leader without his shoes on because after a victory, the kids pick him up and they throw him in the fishing pond right outside the stadium.
Does that make good fish food?
You know, that's just not worth it to me. Can you get the stains out of those whites, though? That's what I want to know. The kick is a short one at the 25-yard line. Alex English. Now let's take a look and see what's straight ahead for the Wyoming Cowboys coming up after this ball game. Of course, the next week, Central Michigan comes to town. They got a couple of home games, Nevada.
Get into their conference schedule. See Nevada, New Mexico, San Diego State. All those teams are part of the Mountain West Conference, and they fared pretty well there. At the bottom, you look at that's the tough part of the schedule. Colorado State and Air Force knocked off BYU today.
My goodness. Well, the players are picked in the bottom of the conference, and they were telling us yesterday that they will be the sleeper in the Mountain West Conference this year. Wyoming still coming out throwing. Pass is complete to Michael Wallstrom. Brandon Neal showing a little bit of poise in the final 30 seconds of this ball game. Vic Koenig still looking for his first win as a head coach. Took over for Dana Dimmel. They gave him the job less than 24 hours after Dimmel left Wyoming to take the job with the Houston Cougars. And another sack. That'll be the fourth sack of the game for the Texas A&M defense. Jesse Honeycutt, the sophomore out of Amarillo, the first to get him. The core getting ready to run out on the field. And that is it. Texas A&M has won 20 straight at home. And again, R.C. Slocum with another victory in his home opener. A very impressive 51-3 victory over the Wyoming Cowboys. Is this what the doctor ordered after last week's Notre Dame game?
I think it definitely is. And when we talked to R.C. Slocum, they weren't down. They saw some good things in the Notre Dame ball game. They'll be able to build, have a ball game next week against El Paso. And then you get into that Big 12 schedule, the meat of it, and really get things going for this Aggie ball club.
They had it all going with Whitaker and Ferris and company, and they win it 51-3. Just a reminder, immediately following the commercial break, we'll send you out west for Ohio State and Arizona with Steve Fiziak, Tom Ramsey, and Lisa. Again, our final score, Texas A&M wins it 51-3 for Eric Clemens and James Lofton and our entire crew. I'm Ron Thulin. College Football Saturday has been a presentation of Fox Sports Net.
My name is Chunk. I'm a grad student.
At the continent's southern tip, one nation's recent